God damn it, I forgot to mute this. Fuck it, we're watching it a third time. I forgot to mute it a third time. How? How do I do this?
Hello, Mario.
The Rock says play his fucking... You know what? I had a whole thing planned here, but now it's thrown out the window. We're just gonna get going. Hi everyone. My name is Giraffe7. I'm the president of the Long Boy Club, the very large enjoyer of all things gaming, wrestling, other hyperfixations, and my stinky...
What? And I cannot stress this enough. The fuck did I just watch?
Watched art, homunculus. You watched what would have been funny like a week ago, but now it's a really old meme. Now it's a really old meme. You watched art at its purest form, brother. Yeah. Or maybe you didn't, dude. No. I'm talking like to the homunculus when I say dude and brother. By the way, I'm not referring to you specifically, Patch. But you're probably wondering the same thing, and if you want like a legitimate answer, that is an ad for a drink known as Orangina. It is essentially just like orange juice from France, I think. And in France, there is a marketing campaign that I don't know if it's still going on. It's probably not. But there's a marketing campaign that has like busty animals, right? It's got like busty furries, right? And you know what? While we're on the topic, first off, I'm gonna like delete this. That way we're not like jump scared by it again for a third consecutive stream. But yeah, we are going to do something special tonight. But you know what? Before we do that, why don't we just head on over here? Oh, hold on. And I'll show you, I wish busty furries were part of American advertising. While we're on the topic, while talking about busty furries, always a good sentence. Listen. If anything, it encompasses what we're doing. Listen. What? Fuck it. I swear, I promise it works this time. I promise you it works this time.
It's no big surprise that IDOT...
Oh, yeah!
Considering last year's mega hit Tomb Raider, the sequel uses the same formula.
Yeah, baby, we're starting off hot.
Minor control changes for sidestepping.
You know what?
And of course,
I'm kind of glad that my friends aren't... What? Phoenix with the Long Boys, Girls, NBs, and AGs.
Hello,
Welcome
Mario.
in, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting.
Mario.
You are in for a fun time. Is this the one you showed on Twitter? It is the one I edited on Twitter. You came in at a good time, everyone. I'm gonna be quiet and let Mr. George Wood speak for a second.
An exploration this time around, but you may not notice the difference.
Hello, Mario.
Hi, Drak.
Obviously,
We got a lot of people. Hey, Godzilla, thank you for following. You're now a member of the Long Boy Club for life.
And we've only
Hold on.
just scratched the surface.
Hold on just a
In
second.
answer to Lara's giant earrings, however, we have a challenge to IDOS. In Tomb Raider 3, create a storyline in which Lara gets breast cancer. Imagine the drama of a vulnerable Lara Croft still persisting in her worldly
Hello,
addiction
Mario.
despite her illness. It needs fleshing out, no pun intended, but we guarantee the gaming world would be shocked, stunned, and moved at the effort to make Lara's character more meaningful. We love Lara, but it's about time the industry had a big...
Welcome in, everyone.
It's no shock that Tomb Raider 2 is excellent.
I'm glad we're getting all the cursed shit out the way, like, immediately.
Hello, Mario.
I'm glad we're getting all the cursed content out of the way immediately. That way there's nothing in between us and the ponies. He said, did you still want to try out that Whopper contest generator? We'll go ahead and do it at some other point, but For tonight, we're gonna be doing some horses. We're gonna be doing some horses, chat, because Raiders, first of all, hello to Fidget, Godzilla, Featherfoot, Drak, who will be coming on stream here in just a second, doing horses. Listen!
Step on up and see if you can throw a giant gold ring around a long boy's neck, ladies and gentlemen. Step on up. Come on. Let's go. Hurry.
Ah!
Oh, you missed.
I wonder if Phoenix's chat will be more lucky. I wonder if they'll be more lucky.
Hello, Mario.
You sick fuck indeed. You sick fuck. But yeah, oh boy. Maybe you hit it, or maybe you won't, brother. Ow. Well, you hit that. But yeah, I'm going to get my friends in here in just a second. But Ooh, homunculus. Ooh. Ow. Jesus. I'm glad we're doing all this right now. I'm glad we're doing it all right now. Thank you. But no, like, I need... Kev, you didn't even touch them, LOL. Kevin, listen. Big Kev has a big-ass hitbox, okay? And it's like...
Hello, Mario.
It's detecting the enemy. He didn't say we had to get the ring on, just said we can hit you. Well, listen, you have to get the ring around the neck, otherwise you won't get a gifted sub. That's the whole thing. Yeah, he has a janky-ass hitbox. But no, chat, I'm gonna get my friends in here real quick, but I just want to say, right off the bat, before we get any further in this, that we are in fact playing the My Little Pony Generation 5 video game. My Little Pony, a Maretime Bay Adventure. If you like him, you should put a ring on him. Well, I don't know if I'm ready for marriage, but, you know. It's like the new Overwatch hitboxes. Big Kev can't hit. Soul, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say, my friend? No, I will not have listen. I will not have this thing going on right now and where people have a thing for the boy, all right? I don't want that. I don't want that in my presence. I know I can't stop it, but I don't want it. Hey, thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Phoenix. Shout out to Phoenix, by the way, for the massive raid to kick us off. In the words of a great philanthropist, philosopher, and steward of our times, I have a lot of people to fucking disappoint tonight. But before we get to the disappointment, I do need to say that this whole thing we're about to do, the My Little Pony Generation 5 video game, Maritime Bay Adventure, and the Ponytown raid that we're gonna be doing afterwards, is all thanks to everyone's generosity over the course of Hope Miss 2023. All in all, the Long Boy Club ended up raising $170 to help out Project Hope's efforts to provide humanitarian relief overseas. That money is not for weapons, it's not for war,
Hello,
it's not for
Mario.
military, it's not for any of that. It is to help actual fucking people who fucking need it the most. And we friggin' did that. And I cannot thank everyone's support during that whole fundraiser enough. It is because of you that we are doing this tonight. And that is something that even 2 months later, we should all feel proud of still. Because 170, this is awesome. Fuck war. Let's help each other, for God's sake. Free fucking Palestine, yes. This is awesome. Anyways, guys, do we want to get everyone into the chat here so that way we can begin? Do we want to get everyone in chat here so that way we can begin? Hell yeah, okay. All right. So, I'm gonna message them all in chat. I'm gonna pull them in. Yeah, I'll pull them in, coach.
Up and see if you can throw a giant gold ring.
What the hell? Ace Play Pony! Rather, yeah, Ace Play Pony. Pinky has thrown a raid party on your stream.
Or maybe you
With the Long Boys, girls, and bees, and
Mario.
friggin' AGs. Thank you very much for raiding in. For those of you who are unaware, my name is Giraffe Steph. I'm the president of the Long Boy Club, the very large enjoyer of all things gaming, wrestling, other hyperfixations, my stinky cat, and not actually doing my stream on fucking time because things just keep happening. Thank you very much for the raid, Ace Pony. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the raid, Ace. The Ace Raid. The Ace Raid, in fact. I know that y'all were playing Sea of Thieves. I saw it. I saw it from way up here. I hope y'all had a good time. Hold on just a second. All right. So usually during this, I have a bit of a preamble, or rather like a bit of a pre-stream kind of chill-out sesh. The Long Boy sees all. You bet he fucking does. Even the things I don't want to see. I've seen some shit, pal. Or maybe I didn't, dude. Or maybe I didn't, dude. But no, for those of you who are unaware of me, I play a lot of wrestling games, a lot of role-playing games, strategy games. Well, Wii U noises. Yeah. That's my. Those are the sounds that we're gonna be hearing while we kind of wean into things. We snatched a lot of booty tonight. Why do I hear Wii menu music? Because Steve is indeed the Long Boy at fucking large. Anyways, I'm gonna call them, and we're just gonna get this going. I'll need to set them up still, but we can do it. Drak, hello. Holy fuck. I got a lot of people to disappoint tonight.
Nah.
But, you know what? We're gonna disappoint in style.
Yeah, with ponies.
Anyways, I'm gonna get you set up here. Hello? Hey, Logos.
I was going crazy when I heard Wii U noises, so I closed like everything on my computer to make sure that it wasn't coming from anything else, and I forgot that I closed Discord in the process. So
I'm currently collecting a bunch of music to play during these like lead-ins here, and the Wii U menu music is one of them.
I fucking love it.
Because
It's been too long since I've heard that.
Because Scott the Waz was on the mind.
Oh,
And,
hell yeah.
And I needed to. Maybe he has, or maybe he hasn't, brother. Ah, yes. I cannot wait to just pile on my fucking obscure wrestling references onto you. Because that's a Hulk Hogan thing.
Aha.
Maybe I did, or maybe I didn't, brother. Hold on. I need to get everyone's like reactives on here, so that way everyone can be seen.
Yeah. Hello. Sorry, I went downstairs to get things to get my energy up again with this sickness.
Alright,
Fair enough.
I'm okay. Just a little bit of flat 7-Up and this nice Nutella stuff.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, I'm so ready to see you play this. This game has me absolutely damned.
What? Why?
How many hours do I have on it? Wait, let's see. I can put it in the. It's in my pony.
I feel like I'm about to be shocked and appalled, chat.
15 and a half hours.
That's like the game 5 times over. What?
That is the game 15 times over.
15?
It's a
Pretty
very
much.
short game.
It's really short.
Is it? Okay, well, you know, you know, I anticipated like 2 hours out of this, but no, we're getting 1 out of this, brother.
Okay. The first time that I played it casually, but I was not rushing. It
Okay.
took me about an hour and a half. So about an hour and a half. That's all we're getting. So I guess it's like 10 times over. Yeah.
Big Drak. Well, you're about to get big logos here too.
That's only the
Hey.
Steam version. That's only the Steam version. I probably have like at least an hour and a half on the Switch version, if not more.
Yeah, I got the Switch version physically at launch, and I have never touched it ever since I learned how short it was. I just lost interest.
So like it's just sitting there. Like is
Yep.
it?
It is on the shelf.
Is it still like in the? Is it still in the shrink wrap?
No. I opened the shrink wrap. I want
Oh.
to see what it looked like. That'd be funny though.
That would
You
be
know what you
fucking
should do?
awesome.
Oh, I just realized something. You know what you should do?
What?
You should, if we ever, you know how conventions usually have like voice actors or whatever. Like you know how they had Anna Sani at the last Galacon. If it happens that we get another G5 voice actor or someone that like worked on the game or something, you should take your copy to a signing, get it signed by it.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'll do
That
it.
would be cool.
I'll do it. Yeah, sure. I'll fucking do
Yeah.
it. I mean,
And
like,
you know
listen.
what? In about 10 years' time, you could give it to a charity auction and it could sell for some real big bucks. You know?
I mean, listen,
Nervous,
like
talking to big people though.
like
I'll go
after
with
this, after this,
Alright.
I'm never gonna play this game again after this. So,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Unless you decide to
Yeah.
get into the speedrunning community, don't do it. You will hate yourself. Don't do it.
don't,
I used
please,
to have one of
please,
the fastest
please,
times.
don't.
At the time. But then they kept finding more things, and now like there's someone who has managed to do like a sub 10.
A sub 10 minutes.
My fastest time was under 16 minutes.
But now, like, they found ways to make it
now-
like less than 10 minutes.
Hello, Mario.
Yeah, the best you
They
can
can
get.
play less of the game.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
Eve Rose. You're now a member of the Long Boy Club for life. We're now at 720. Xbox 720, baby. Followers.
But the last time I streamed this was only a month ago. It was during
Step
Sparkathon.
on up
It
and
was
see
at
if
like
you can
5
throw
in
a
the morning.
giant gold
I was
ring around a
absolutely
long boy's
exhausted.
neck, ladies and gentlemen. Step on
And
up. Come
the
on,
thing I
come
had
on,
to do
come on,
was
let's
I
go,
muted the
let's go,
game
let's go.
and
Hurry.
replicated all of the sounds and voice
Oh, you
acting
did.
as I was going.
Or maybe you didn't.
It was
You'll be
just an hour and a half of
tested
me making these noises that were like ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. And then just the voice acting. It was really fun though. Oh god. But yeah. Creature takeover. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna get into this here in just a second, but like, I will say I read the back of the box and it's like got 2-player in it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm half tempted to like just wrangle up my roommate at some point during this and be like,
Yes,
Dude,
It's local
dude,
co-op,
come
so I
over
don't
here.
find anyone to-
come over here and we're gonna fucking just like show this off real quick. I think, I mean, like, listen, I'm not like anticipating it being like anything more than like 10 minutes worth of stuff, but, I don't know.
Something to do.
Maybe it's Mario
something
Party.
to do.
Yeah, it's something to do with your $40 purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna make it
The
a little bit more worth it, you know?
The fact that this is $40 is obscene.
Yeah.
That's
When
like
I first
actually
streamed it-
like insane.
When I first streamed it, I modded it.
Hello,
modded it
Mario.
slightly.
Nice Nick Station.
Like it's not a very hello. It's not a very like moddable game, but like I managed to I found that like a couple of the tutorial videos were all in MP4 form, so I just
Yeah.
replaced them with memes.
I will actually like walk off this fucking set and like eat a t-shirt if I find out that this game has like an active modding community.
It doesn't.
I thought it would. I actually thought that this,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a longer game, so I thought it'd be more like worth modding, you know?
I'll go and
Very
find
cool.
like the Monsters University shirt that I got at like fucking Disney World, saute it, and eat it if I find that out. Holy shit. I'm legitimately surprised Friendship is Magic never received its own official adventure game for consoles. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised about that as well.
It just got a few phone apps, and that was it, really.
It got like
You got a
the
heckin'
town
gotcha.
it got the town builder game number 5287, but nothing on like things that are worthwhile.
But you know what? You know what? I have found that there is still an active community that play the Game Loft game.
Really?
Like, I still see tweets
Oh, yeah.
about it all the time going, hey, add me on this, you know? Or like, oh, I really want this pony that is there at the moment.
Yeah, because they keep
So it's
adding
like-
content to that. They had like new designs for it and stuff.
They keep updating it. It's like, you know, yeah, the show ended 5 years ago, but you know what? They are still giving the Game Loft game new content. So
It's becoming
fair
like
play
Mario
them.
Kart, just adding new versions of old characters over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Game Loft game is almost 10 years old. Don't say that. Don't you say that, Feather.
No.
That right there's a bannable offense.
Oh my god.
Hello,
Hello,
Kite. How are you
Back
doing?
Before I even had a phone, I remember. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Featherfoot's over here looking to catch up ban. Nah, it's fine. But yeah, like it's honestly surprising that like Friendship is Magic never really got anything too like major out of it besides like the Game Loft game. I remember that like the Game Loft game, or rather like there's an account called Hey Glimmer, I think is what it's called. And like all it is just like cropped screenshots of like
Oh, yeah.
characters in the Game Loft game, but with like cropped text as well. It's like, oh yay, Glimmer, I think is what it's called.
Yes,
In fact, before we get
I
going,
love that.
let's go and peruse it real quick before we get going. I think that'll be
Oh,
a
boy.
good kind of palate cleanser before
It's
we.
the P word. Palette cleanser. What did
What are
you
we
see
cleansing?
before? What are we cleansing?
We're
What
cleansing
horrors
the
did you-
fucking orange juice furry porn. Hold on.
The what?
The thing, the thing you walked in on, Phoenix, the one, the one that you thought was like an ad, you know?
Oh, the giraffe thing. Oh.
Wow, Glimmer, I think is what it's called. Yes, wow.
Yeah, wow, Glimmer.
Wow, Glimmer. Oh my, boss, you have some splaining to do. Listen, ponytail.
Sometimes you just have to take a good sniff.
Like this. Apple
Yes,
blue.
Apple blue.
Yes.
I love this account.
I want to find rate from 1 to 1. Chat, rate this stream from 1 to 1 right now.
I'd give it a 1.
Yeah! Woo! Hooves day!
Hooves Day! Oh yeah,
Everyone, a
the
brand new day of the week dropped.
the one below it that just says sour. I tagged my friend Sour in that.
One. We the ones. Sour.
Sour. Don't have a sense of humor.
Don't have a sense of humor ever, chat.
Don't have a sense
What
of humor.
What in the fresh hell is this?
Future
right here?
Pinkie Pie.
Right?
Future Pinkie Pie.
Listen,
I'm saying, it's like
it's
Mario
a
Kart
gacha
nowadays.
game, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
yes.
They have
There
future
are
versions
future
for everybody.
versions of the main 6. There are robot future versions of the main 6.
This right here is like what
I
ChatGPT
haven't
thinks the
played it
main
in
6
ages,
looks
but-
like.
The
Oh,
main
God.
reward.
The main reward.
Friday.
Friday.
Friday comment.
Friday. This was Friday. This
Friday.
was actually posted on a Friday, so there you
Oh,
go.
good.
That's so perfect.
Good.
The G7 preview.
That is
That
that
should
is
be
that is
posted every
me, but
Friday.
it's Friday.
Actually, no, that should be a separate account that posts that
yeah,
every Friday.
exactly. Should just be Spike Friday.
Yeah.
Making
It's-
bullets.
You know, Vince be like, it's Hooves Day in it.
Glam Rock Pinky. Yes, Glam Rock Pinky.
What the hell is this?
Right?
Yeah, Future
Hold on.
Twilight
I
as
can't.
well.
Every time I see the designs from this game, I just,
Logos.
You know,
oh my god.
wait, is that out? Is that out at the moment? Because I could go in my app and like check on it. I have not used this app in like, oh god, I can't even remember how long.
Chat, I'm about to show you something, and Logos,
I'll share it.
you might remember this. I'm gonna type it.
Let's see. When's the last time I've used this app?
Have you seen Square Enix Batman?
Oh my god.
That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the Square Enix Batman. Oh my goodness.
God, they have a Year
Yeah.
of the Dragon thing going on right now. Oh my god. Also, I like how they changed the phone app, the name of it. They changed it to My Little Pony Magic Princess. That sounds like
What?
a really bad knockoff of a pony game, but no, it's official. It's legit. Hasbro released this.
Batman
My
could use
Little
more
Pony
belts.
Magic Princess. That doesn't sound like real official My Little Pony anything. But like no,
No, it doesn't.
it is. Who are these alicorns?
God fucking damn
my
it,
God.
Logos. I fucking know what you're saying too. And listen, it doesn't need more belts, it needs more zippers, alright?
Belts.
It needs
Capitalize
more-
both of them.
I had forgotten this damn it step. Well, you know, I remember it so you don't have to, okay? The pain.
Oh,
The
boy.
pain.
The title of your new wrestling faction. Oh my god, they posted Brock Lesnar! My fucking guys! My guys! I'm sorry.
Steph when wrestling.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Soul, what do I look like when wrestling? Do I look a little bit like this right here? Do I look a little bit like that? A little bit yippee right there?
Yes, we get Yippee Steph.
Bros, no. Nostalgia giraffe. Uh-oh. Okay, so we're gonna get started here, but first we gotta run an ad because Father Bezos is catching up with me and he's knocking on my door.
It's time
on.
for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Marvel's on after this. Also, I apologize if I'm cutting people off a little bit. I get a little loud on stream.
It's okay.
Dang.
It's your stream.
We'll get to it. We'll get to this here in a second. In fact, it gives me ample time. Something, a giraffe credit card. Fucking hell. I need Tic Tacs. But no, because this game is so short, we're gonna be doing a Ponytown raid afterwards.
Yeah.
Yay.
Because even with a 40-minute preamble, this is probably still not gonna hit the 3-hour mark that I usually go for right now.
Right.
No.
It's gonna be still gonna be a heckin' long raid.
Yeah. we might even cut it like a little bit short.
Yeah,
just for the
to be fair.
but I'm here for the Ponytown. That's fucking awesome, Gabo.
Oh my god, I just realized I'm level 98 on the app.
Do you play it like regularly, Phoenix?
I haven't played it in like a year, but like then again, when did I first download it? When I was about 14, so
Oh wow. That thing is like
I've got a lot of years in this.
that thing is like a time capsule of like
Yeah,
peak
oh
brony
my
years.
god it is. It
Was-
is though.
I was 150 until I lost my world.
Om nom nom.
Says Feather.
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Y'all can see my view here, right?
Just switch.
Oh yeah.
Because I have
Yeah,
my thing
you can see
sharing
it.
on an old Discord here. But yeah, fucking hell, y'all. Thank you very much for hanging around with us for this long already. We're gonna get going here, but first we're gonna see if Kite can get the ring around the neck.
Step on up. Come on. Let's go.
Ah!
Oh,
You suck!
You missed. Or maybe you didn't. You owe me.
I'm only level 89,
Yeah.
Drak. I'm
That's-
level 0 because I don't have the app.
same.
Wow, Logos. You and I can
No, I've
be
never. I mean, I've never been a mobile guy in general.
you and I can be
I never
drifters.
get myself mobile games.
You can have your icon as any pony now. Oh, that's so good.
Damn, not even close. You Logos, You and I can be drifters, you know?
Yeah.
We ain't got no... It is no country for... It's no country for old horses, you know?
Right.
Hey, like Kyrie, thank you for following. You're now a member of the Long Boy Club for life. Thank you.
I definitely need to like just have a full-on app where I just play pony apps. A full-on stream. Sorry.
Stream,
That
A
yeah.
full app.
Pony apps
Mario.
is what I've wanted to do for a long time.
A full single app in where you can watch Phoenix play pony apps.
Hell yeah.
I joined with Phoenix. Well, hello there. Thank you for following. All right.
All right, pony time.
Ladies, gentlemen,
Nothing
everyone in
beats a
between.
cool, refreshing sip of water.
Ooh, thank you.
Hans.
Haunts, it is Haunts time. Again,
Hans time.
we are going to play this game from start to end. This is all because of everyone's generosity during Hopemas 2023. Y'all are fucking awesome, and I am happy to be able to play this in return. Let's do it.
It's gonna be my first time actually even seeing the game played from start to finish.
Really? You've actually
crazy.
never like even seen it?
I
play from, like,
avoided
start to end?
watching stuff from it as much as I could because I wanted to play it, and then I heard it
Balls.
was short, and by then people weren't
Hello,
playing it as
Mario.
much.
'Cause they all
I
need it.
love THQ.
Yeah, they all beat it. So I just never actually saw. I saw little bits and pieces, but never the whole thing.
Well, you're about to.
Here we
And
go.
Yeah.
And here's a bit of context, chat, because I don't really have any. I have only watched the G5 movie. I've not seen anything else about Generation 5. I don't even remember most of the characters' names. I know Sunny, I know Izzy.
Mini games.
What the fuck?
Play.
Holy shit.
Okay, well, okay. If I recall correctly, the game came out the day after the season 1, episode 1 came out, I believe. The special.
The first special, yeah.
Yeah.
Mini games.
The fuck? Hold on.
Play. Mini
What?
Yeah, you don't really need any extra knowledge but the movie, really.
Not
Okay.
really. I guess I could say there's one spoiler in it, but it's not really a spoiler. It's just
Not
kind
really.
of a thing that happens.
I mean, is it really a
later Mark
spoiler?
series.
I mean, is it really a spoiler if I don't know what it's referring to?
I
Right?
guess. I mean, it doesn't happen in the movie,
It's
but
a different way of
it's fine.
a different. Yeah, it's whatever.
No, cancel the stream.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you all
It's
very
not that
much.
big of a thing.
We
Right,
have to get him to watch the special first.
Let's find someone to raid.
I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see
Yep.
it again. I already watched it like twice. I do not want to see it again.
I want to watch it like one more time. In fact, we're probably going to do that like in my server. By the way, I have a Discord server. We're fucking watching My Little Pony Generation 4 in there all over again. Come in there and watch it with us. We're going to continue watching Season 5 tomorrow. It's been fun. It's genuinely the highlight of my week. So fucking join us for it. First, we're going to get this into our system. Inject it right into the fucking brainstem. Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Great stream, Steb. See you later.
Crystal Bright House, the great
Play with the
symbol
Phoenix
of
voice
magic
pack.
and friendship in the land
The
of
marvelous
adversity.
city, land of sun and
And
heat.
as long as harmony lasts among unicorns, pegasi, and earth ponies, its light will brighten the skies of Maritime Bay.
Did you like amending fences or? Oh, wait, hold on.
But
I
there
wanna-
is one young pony who will always be ready to help us all.
I'm awake.
And is
I'm awake.
oh my god! Whoa.
Where is every pony? Hey! At Main
That's,
Street Maritime Bay Day. And
Not gonna lie, that was a bit of a jump scare.
Sorry, jump scare.
it's off. My bag. Where did I leave it this time?
Brain. There was a brain break. It was though. Hey, look at this. I'm a fucking guy here. Let's do it.
Your pony.
Welcome back, PS2. This is It's an insult to PS2.
Damn.
But genuinely this like does look a little better than like PS2 games, but like it looks like early PS3, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like I will say that the lighting's a little odd, you know.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah,
feels like too
definitely.
bright in this, which is which is odd to say considering, but you gotta press B to jump. Okay. Be aware, ponies are in fact here, and we're better off for it? Question mark. Makes me yearn for the old 2000s shovelware for some reason. You know what? It kind of does too.
Yeah.
Like this, like the movement here and just like the feel of it makes me think of Shrek 2 on the GameCube for some reason.
Oh man.
I can't wait to face Puss in Boots in a rhythm minigame.
My bag! That bunny took it.
Lights are too bright and the colors still don't feel as good as G4. They don't though. Huh. It looks better than Pokemon from a Pokemon fan.
You know, it kind of.
I don't know,
at
man.
At least run better.
So sneaky. Maybe.
You know what? Based on what I've seen, that's
With my earth
not
potion,
even hyperbole.
I can make plants
Yeah.
and flowers grow. Press this
Unfortunately.
button to use it.
Press this button. What? Hold on. Okay.
This button.
That
This
was
button.
that was very quick.
Aha! I just have to reach that spot.
Chat, what are some like old like licensed video games that you remember playing
Oh, I've
that
given
like
you a whole
actually
list of those.
Oh no. Phoenix.
Right.
Phoenix, you and I are like kindred spirits
Hmm.
when it comes to
Yes.
this.
We
We've
are.
played
Yeah, I
all the
never
bullshit.
got to play that many licensed games as a kid. I
Oh,
mainly
that
just got
was
the
my
big,
shit.
the big
It was
like cool
was
big
my
deal
shit.
games.
the old
Let me
Narnia game on GameCube.
The only one I remember really playing, I mean, Lego games don't really count,
No, not really.
but
Actually,
like, I had an American Idol game that was dumb.
Let me tell you something, brother. While you were over here playing Super Smash Brothers Melee, I'm here
Yeah.
playing the Tale of fucking Despero on PS2.
The
Yes.
Crystal Bright House. I
Oh,
still
boy.
can't believe we live in this magical place.
That's some classic licensed game jank and where the voice line happens before the loading screen is over.
Yeah.
Oh, just you wait.
That takes me right fucking back, dude. Right back. Shrek the Third type beat.
What's going on here? Shimmerwing, it's you!
Breezy.
Wow, you're really strong for a butterfly. How come you were trapped?
It's
in
a literally who?
Yeah, it's like
I don't
this
see a
butterfly
butterfly.
never shows up in the series.
Really?
I don't think.
Nope.
Like no, I don't
Follow the butterfly
remember.
To find your next step.
They're like saying it like Missy, my old friend.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they though?
Also,
was-
one time I experienced a really funny glitch where the pot wasn't spawned in. So it was like Sunny was just looking at an invisible pot
Gotta get
and
going.
like just acting like, whoa, what the hell is this, you know?
Right.
So you gotta follow nature in order to get to your next destination. I love Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, no, the butterflies are nothing. Not the 3D TV show, not the 2D TV show. It's a nothing.
Literally just exists.
Yeah,
for
it's
this
just
game.
it's just its own little canon in this game.
You would
Yeah.
think that they would pull like from the breezies or something, but whatever.
No, the breezes are in the show.
Are they?
Yeah,
Recently, yeah.
as of Thursday.
There's a lot
I watched that episode as much as I could with the auto-generated captions because I absolutely hate the sound design. But yeah, they exist in the show now.
Depth
You can get it. I
perception.
believe in you. I believe in you. The
Oh
hardest
yeah.
game Steph has ever played.
Giraffe Steph can't play Babby games.
Oh my god. The Bluey
There
game
you
though, same publishers by the way.
Yay.
The Bluey game fucked.
Fucked. Like
Yeah.
in what context?
The usual context.
Okay.
Like
I'm the one who
like
taught you
it
that one.
was- Yeah.
That's
You
so
guys-
funny.
Logos said it was a thing that people said.
Baby
Am I being
games.
baited?
No, he was doing a long
It's
con.
to
No
say
one says
something
it.
is really good. This thing really fucks.
I genuinely am scared that like we're just gonna get to 3 hours because I can't play baby game.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Steph, maybe neither of us had ever heard that term because we're ace.
You know what? You
Because
and I have.
usually if
you-
if something fucks for an ace, that's usually not a good thing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like I say I fuck with things, right?
Yeah.
And I say that, you know, just to be like, oh yeah, that's my shit, dude, right? But
Right.
like,
Opens the flower, doesn't use it.
like when something fucks, in my head, that's like, well,
Broken.
yeah. It's the hooves, isn't it? It makes the controls hard. She like moves like a tank here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has like such a wide radius.
Oh, they got those pony physics down, you know?
Exactly, you're a big clunky horse.
Yeah.
It really
You got 4 legs to
Deal
deal
with it
with.
now.
it really captures the it really captures the exaggerated swagger of a fucking yellow earth pony. Ah, hey,
Oh my God.
let's go.
Deep cut.
Hey, look, it's Pinkie Pie.
We better hurry. Maretime Bay awaits us. I know. It's this way, right? It
They've always
sure
got
is.
like a bit of stank
But
face
it's
about them.
broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Split with our unicorn powers. Unicycling magic. But I don't remember where I left my tools. They shouldn't be far. Could you help me find them? I'm on it.
This is all taking me back to that place, buddy. It's all taking me back.
What?
The non-existent
Where?
lip syncing,
More to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
the overall jank between the visuals and the audio, the lighting,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
clipping.
that
It's
good
all taking
old
me back.
licensed feel.
I'm
Yeah,
s-
so
s-
I've been informed by someone who worked on the game that they used the stock
Sweet.
lip movement things. They did not animate it properly.
the
mainly
stock lip
because
movements.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Mainly
I mean, you
because they
can't
were on
expect
a-
them to.
They were on a time crunch. They had to get it out before.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
No.
that's for
Real.
licensed game.
Really?
The whole thing.
You're telling me they weren't given 2 years to work on this? I'm shocked.
Oh no.
5 years? Yes. It's sad to see
nice,
some things
though.
never change. Listen, in general though, and
mean-
this. Hold on, I'm gonna
Go on.
let you talk first, Logos.
Oh, it's like I mean, I think it's cool that things haven't changed in a sense, you know.
Yeah, I
Kind
mean,
of
you kind of
maintain
know what
that,
to
that
expect.
classic feel of a
That
licensed
classic
game, you know?
feel, that fucking classic
of a licensed
feel
game, you know?
of like over that classic midness feel, just like
Yeah.
overwhelmingly mid.
Yeah.
But like also, and
Charmingly mid.
and I mean alarmingly mid, yes. And I mean
said
that
charming, but
I mean this with zero sarcasm, right? I am happy that companies like Outright exist.
yes.
I'm genuinely happy for that because you know, I feel like kids like need games like this, you know,
Just
in order to kind of help develop their tastes a little bit.
Uh-oh.
They need to know what a bad game is so that they know what a good game is.
I say, listen, I say that in like a bit of an insulting way, but like, you know, I mean,
I'm right though.
I feel yes, in a sense, you're right, but you know, when I was a kid, I enjoyed having these kinds of games, right? I enjoyed being able to be taken into the worlds of my favorite movies and shows and stuff like that, right?
You missed.
Ah,
Or maybe you
Kite, you
missed.
suck.
You owe me $10 either way.
Oh. They need to experience bad to understand the importance of good. Well, yeah. And yes, like the jankiness builds character, but like also I feel like games like this, I feel like they do have a place like within within just, you know, gaming in general because, you know, it captures a young kid's imagination in
yeah,
ways
like,
that, like, you know, a Mario
many.
or a Sonic may not be able to, like, you know, on the face of it, you know?
I've played many sucky games, like
Yeah.
as a kid, and like, okay, if you ever thought that a game was really, really good when you were a kid, and then you revisit it as an adult, and then realized it was actually really mid, you're lying if you say you haven't done that. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, like, I
we've
mean,
all
I've gone
done that.
back and I played a lot of games from, like, when I was
Good,
6,
so
7 or
excited
so,
for Maretime
you know?
Day Day. Don't
Yeah.
take too long.
Ooh, low. Old Yu-Gi-Oh games can be so bad, I love them. I mean, like, listen, dude,
Oh shoot! I had one on my Game Boy Advance. That's crazy.
I played... So, like, Scott the Waz recently made a video talking about, like, his childhood game collection, right?
Yes.
Take them back.
He played, I shit you not, every single SpongeBob game, basically, that came out during the
Yes.
6th fucking generation. And every single one, I was like, I played that. So, and I feel like, you know, even though the majority of those games are incredibly mid, they helped form who I am, you know? And they helped kind of
Thank you,
inform my
Sunny. You're a
tastes.
bridge saver. Now you can unicycle anytime you find tables like these.
It helps you have an appreciation for shit like this when you go back.
Magic thing.
Lucky you, I played both Mylon's Secret Castle and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Atari ET. That sounds statistically impossible. What?
Wow.
But no, like, yeah, like, obviously a lot of this is bad, right? But like I said, I do think it has a place, like, in gaming. And I don't really think it's, like, worth... I don't think it's worth getting, like, well, this is...
Hello,
this is
Mario.
terrible.
I mean,
And, like,
look,
getting, like, upset over it, because, yes,
we're a bunch
obviously.
of fully grown adults talking about a game that was made for literal 5-year-olds. Okay, like
Exactly, yeah.
we can't
Left to do
we
what?
can't judge this
Train
too
your shepherd
harshly.
skills.
No.
The new greatest tradition at
I
Maritime
find stuff like
Day
this
Day,
really charming.
the bunny herding classic.
Yeah.
Do I have to?
Even though it's 40 fucking bucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that I can't excuse.
That's
Yeah,
a
no,
good
that's
old.
Oh,
Hasbro
big
move.
fuck.
Okay then. What do I have to do?
Well,
Chunky boy.
some bunnies kept hopping away to Main Street. 3 bunnies are still
I
missing.
actually saw a lot
You
of
couldn't have gone far.
reviews from
I need you to
parents
catch them
on
for
this
me,
game
will ya?
going,
They'll hop
it
away from you. Chase
it
them
didn't
all the way
occupy
back
my
here.
child long enough
You
for
got
the
it.
price
On
that I
my
gave
way.
it. Like, they finished it in like 2 hours or something. And
Pretty.
like, that was 40 bucks. I'm really mad.
Well, listen.
Like, my child loves My Little Pony so much, so I thought giving them this game would be like an amazing, like a great parent thing to do, but it only kept them occupied for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm really mad. This was 40 bucks.
I mean, I guess, like, as a parent, yeah, right?
Yeah, so,
Obviously,
you know, when even parents are just like, this isn't long enough for the price that it is.
yeah, like, when you're talking about, like, in terms of, like, price, obviously, like, that's, you know, a big sticking point, and I get that. But, like, in terms of, like, a quality thing, it's just, like, you know, if I was, like, a fan of My Little Pony, and I was, like, 5 or 6 years old, I might have really enjoyed this, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like
Well done, Sonny. You've clearly
through
got
that
some cooking
lens,
skills.
I
They
think
won't
stuff
worry
like this
until
has a
you feed
place.
them.
So,
Find some carrots and come back before
I still
Oh,
love
yeah,
watching.
definitely.
Mhm.
That's what you think happened to Ponyville in the G5 series. It got nuked out.
Oh, well,
It's gone.
Oh.
war.
Yeah.
Um,
Massive race war. Nuked out.
Still love watching the video. Oh yeah, that's right. I did a video ages ago about like game reviews on this game. There's probably so many new ones now, like on the Steam page.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Is this gonna be the whole game?
Oh boy.
Your
Play.
sigh. Your
Oh
sigh.
my god.
Yeah, you can see.
Am I
when
gonna
you
be doing
pause
this the whole
total
game?
amount of stars. your progress through the entire game.
Sev, you're already halfway. Don't worry.
I went
I swear
to
to
So
look.
much.
Okay,
We
so I
might
went
make
to
a
look
bunny
at the
herder
Steam
review
page.
After all, right, guys?
Sev slowly starts to figure it out. Listen,
Hello, Mario.
I know I know this game. 30 viewers in chat. Ponies are the fucking draw, brother. I don't know why Mech and Fizzyimp are not showing up on the chat widget, but hello. Hello to the both of you. Hopefully y'all are doing good. I'm pretty sure I played this mission in Shrek too.
Someone last November. I read the reviews on this game, and I'm shocked to see how many grown-ass men bought this. I saw a dude with 113 hours. This is insane. What has this world come to? Humanity has failed.
Shocked.
What?
Shocked?
In this
Huh?
day and
Why are you
age?
shocked, buddy?
Like, I feel like bronies are like the most known fandom.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Wait, no. This right here is just Twilight Princess. Why they give me like 2.5 minutes for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why.
Ah.
Gotta herd the sheep. Wait, no. I played this in Sonic Frontiers. Right here. I played this mission in Sonic Frontiers.
I haven't played that one.
Except it's much easier now. Oh. Okay. I know, I just saw more pop out of there and I was thinking, wait, are they just like spawning more of them? Oh, too many polygons on screen, brother. Can't do that. You think this is the Switch? Nah. This right here is the ColecoVision. Good luck, Steph. Oh no.
Oh man, this is intense. Intense gameplay right here.
They're like just congregating around me. Oh, these ones just like run into the other holes.
Yeah.
These right here just run into the hole.
One loose bunny.
Okay, well, now I'm starting to see why they gave me 2.5 minutes for this. Because they have like 200 bunnies or so that they need to like herd. There you go.
I swear to God, me whistling this part, I never wanted to whistle ever again after whistling this part.
Why?
Because doing it for 2.5 minutes was rough.
I mean, this right here is pretty rough, so.
Yeah, I had to play it while whistling.
Oh, it's a mini game.
Actually,
it's a mini game.
Wow.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, it doesn't finish until the time runs out.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Swerve page could never be this exciting. It's it's fucking funny because I showed them that exact match. I showed them that exact match when I was introducing them to wrestling, and y'all loved it, didn't you?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yes. That was a good
insane.
match.
Anyways,
Almost as good as bunny
You
wrangling.
did all right. You didn't.
It's
get the
time for a
7-0.
90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Robble's on after this. Nah, chat. Listen. You don't understand. I want you to come over here, okay? I want all 30-something of you to come over here. When I see stuff like this, and I know it's a
Here's
game
an ad.
for actual fucking toddlers. I'm no toddler, okay? I'm my frontal lobe is almost fully developed. I have the skills necessary to get 700.
That's
We're-
the spirit.
We're gonna do it. Now that's the fucking spirit, brother. But first, we're gonna wait for the ad to play, and then we're going to do that. Wait, can I just replay that? No, I can't. I gotta go back. Yes, Steph, you're a big boy. We're proud of you. Thank you. Thanks, Mom. When can we go to Golden Corral?
This year might be actually competitive for once.
Great! Main Street, here we go!
Yes! Well, after I move all those boxes out.
I think it's insane that you talk to one of the devs, Phoenix.
No, I put them here.
Oh
and
yeah.
I'll take them
No, I'm
back.
well.
Ah,
I think he's okay. He's so big.
Someone right out of the fandom worked on the animations.
Yeah.
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Okay, but Golden Corral slaps. I've actually never been to Golden Corral.
I think that's pretty sick.
Main Street, heart of the
I've been a couple times.
I've not been a victim of food poisoning yet.
Welcome, everybody. Do you want to see a
Oh,
fabulous
boy.
spectacle?
So some of these have
Sure,
lip
yes,
syncing.
do. Then you can't miss the Pip Pip Parade. Pip Pip Parade. The whole town will be
Golden
there.
Corral chocolate fountain is amazing. I always wanted to like try that as a kid, but like as 24-year-old Stev, I'm just like,
Sure, I'll be there. Just a fan.
Perfect. See
I
you
like
all
how
there.
that groan is just like
I'll be around
so much
cracking
louder
eggs.
than anything else. Just
No, I know. Didn't normalize the
the
sound.
leveling. The
didn't
leveling is so
normali-
weird in this game.
You didn't normalize the sound, brother.
No, it shows.
Or maybe I did, dude. It's like every shitty food in one place. It rules. You know what? That sounds incredible, honestly. No. We're going back. Fuck this. Chat. Y'all are gonna take me to Golden Corral after this because I'm about to blow everyone's minds. Wait, what are you doing back here? What the hell is John Horse doing back here?
Back at it?
Oh, you want
Are you ready to
Wrangle
hurt some
bunnies
more
again?
bunnies?
Fuck yeah.
Sign me up.
Now then. We're not doing it to this music. We're actually gonna do it to some music that's worthy of
Two,
Oh, you
that's
don't
worthy
have
of the
time.
mission.
go!
Actually, you do.
You do actually.
You just want it around. Who gives a crap?
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
I love playing Final Fantasy.
Oh,
Wait, I need to get. Ah!
What?
He's using cheats. Oh my god.
I'm using Game Shark.
Yeah.
There is no run button in this game.
No.
Oh my gosh, it's Halo.
Old
What
Halo.
is Bunny Eating John doing?
Old Halo, the Bungie Halo.
God damn it. I'm not gonna hear the whistling anymore.
Nah.
I'm fucked, dude. It's not gonna happen now. I wasted too much time.
Get the pumpkins.
The
Pumpkins add more
pumpkins.
time.
Oh, wait, the pumpkins add more time?
Pumpkins are time boosters.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
What?
Ah!
Phoenix knows the meta.
They're so bouncy.
I'll be your coach.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's like those freaking
Ah!
things
Yes!
from
Let's go.
Pokemon.
Let me back in. Oh, we're
yeah,
so
let's
back,
go,
baby.
let's go. Oh, you've got 3 pumpkins. It's good.
I'm just gonna focus on the pumpkins for a second. They only give me like 5 extra seconds. What? No!
They get like do they get like suctioned in?
Yeah, they do.
I love that. It's just like an air pressure vacuum right at the gate. That's crazy. They should get that
The
looked
gate.
into.
The gate demands pumpkins.
Yeah,
Hey, hey, thank you.
that's crazy.
The bunnies want you to win this, Steph. Come on.
I don't think I'll be able to. I think Baby Games got me beat this time.
I wonder if anyone actually managed to. Like, maybe?
I'm sure it's possible, but like
Probably
I'm
is possible. but,
like I'm just bad, so like it's not gonna happen this time. Which soundtrack is this? It's
Oh, it's Xenoblade.
yeah, it's Xenoblade.
I can tell you right now. Xenoblade
We're gonna-
Chronicles, Gower Plains theme.
Mm.
Despite it playing for the entire Bionic Slug.
Ah! Fuck!
Uh-oh.
No, suction in!
Aw,
Suction
okay,
in! No!
Yeah!
I waited until afterwards to suck
Are you
it in.
kidding me?
That's awful.
That's a rabbit's paw right there. Or monkey's paw, monkey's paw.
God damn it! No, it's a rabbit's paw. It's a rabbit's paw. Okay, chat. I'm going gamer mode. I know everything I need to know. I know everything I need to know to do this.
Not right now.
Right now, maybe. No, you're in there right now. Right now.
Get in there, Sonny.
Get in there, coach.
Sign me up.
Okay, we're gonna try this one more time, chat. Steph hacking out.
3, 2, 1, go!
I don't know why like messages aren't like appearing on the chat right now. Sometimes. What? That's so weird.
You should try and get like the biggest amount of buddies you can, and then just like.
Yeah, exactly.
Blame.
Hold on, I'm gonna refresh. I'm gonna refresh the chat real quick. Give me a second.
All right, yeah.
I think it's strange they count you down to the instruction screen. 3, 2, 1, instructions.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Bit goofy.
Like you would think it would be instructions and then 3, 2, 1, go, but whatever.
Yeah.
One more time. Oh yeah. Inhale.
Very nice.
Inhale those bunnies. Nom nom. Sweet venison.
You gotta get that like
Venison.
the goat corralling music from Twilight Princess or something.
Oh my god, no, I do.
That'd be so perfect.
Listen, if I fail this again, that's what I'm gonna do. I just
But you're
added
not gonna
this
fail
piece
this
to
again.
my... Oh no, we're not. We're not gonna fail it again. Exactly, Logos.
Got this.
I got my coach and my cheerleaders here. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah!
I don't know what the fuck's happening, but I can cheer you on.
Don't blow it, Steph.
Hello, Mario.
Ah! Interference! Hello, endless nonsense. How are you doing? It's been a bit since I've seen you. Hopefully you're doing okay. Kick the pumpkin! Get in there! Ah!
Is the G5 show any good? As long as you don't mind terrible sound design.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like you
yeah,
showed
the
me.
first couple
onwards.
seasons.
Hold on.
Chapter 4 onwards, please. Chapter 4 onwards is okay.
Just turn around, you fucking glue!
You horse.
Glue.
Just turn around, you glue! Get in the inhaler. What are these?
The white ones?
No! Damn it!
I'm surprised you don't know, dang.
Oh, this is
might have
good.
been.
Hello, Mario.
I can't do it! The hello Marios are
Wait,
fucking with me.
are you playing this off of your your actual OBS?
Yes, I am playing this
Yeah,
off my
nice.
OBS.
Oh, that would be why. Do you
Yeah.
want to know a trick?
Sure. Let me get. Sure. Give me the strats.
No, another
okay.
Windows preview.
Yeah.
Windows
So if you
projector.
go into your OBS and
Oh
right-click-
wait. Hold on. I know.
Yeah, Windows.
I know exactly what you're going at. But no, hello.
Hello, Mario.
Again.
Stop freaking joining my stream. Ah!
Oh my
Oh,
god.
man.
Zach, hi.
Oh,
Oh man.
Oh,
You
we
got
got
this,
this.
Seb.
We got
Come on.
this.
You got this, Seb.
Ah!
Zoom it
No,
in, zoom it
stop
in, zoom it
kicking
in.
my thing
Zoom it
away.
in, zoom
Oh,
it in, zoom it in. Almost. Oh my god.
Ah!
Almost.
I
No,
w-
not the
Give me the
almost
pumpkin.
again.
Give me the pumpkin. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
We got this.
Oh my god. Okay. Get the biggest lot of bunnies you can and just
Go for
zwoof
it.
them in.
Yeah, exactly. And just fucking go for it. Yeah!
Yes!
Holy shit, the white ones are worth so much.
Yeah, dude!
Victory!
That's crazy.
Amazing. Let's go.
Let's go!
True gamer. Let's go. Steph wins baby game.
I win baby game. Let's go.
Babies.
Why that pony got a DreamWorks face? They actually do kind of have a DreamWorks face. You deserve it.
Very true.
Your game is so muted, by the way.
I want to do that with every minigame now. Okay.
Yeah, you've been through all this.
Now we can continue on.
You might as well. It's short enough.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was great.
Alright. I can finally leave gamer mode. Let's go.
Yeah.
My frontal lobe is almost developed. It is now 99.9% of the way there after winning that. Why are you booing me, Zach? I support you and all of your life endeavors. Why can't you support mine?
Spare serotonin, please.
Hey, thank you for the serotonin. Ooh, thank you.
Ooh.
Am I really gonna go around and collect all the stars? Why, yes I am.
Oh yeah, you are.
Why is there slowdown in this game? Why is there slowdown?
Polygons.
It's just too much pony.
Exactly, there are way too many ponygons.
It cannot handle it.
There are too many ponygons here.
Pony's 20,000 polygons.
What the hell? I literally thought that was one of you for a second.
Yeah, no. They let the intern into the recording booth for that one.
That was one of the funniest ones to like voice when I was dubbing over this.
Oh, hey, Phoenix, I didn't know you were in this game.
Just...
I didn't know you were doing voice
like,
acting.
Yeah, I knew I was just like, I was able to just go like at 5 a.m. completely sleep deprived and get away with it. I can't believe that is a canon. That's like an actual. They left that in.
Why is there slowdown in a Unity game? Why does a bear shit in the woods? Yes.
Paint! The best colors in Maretime Bay!
Pink.
I'll take your entire stock. I need to huff some paint.
I'll take POV, you're playing Weed Shop.
I'm going to drink paint and go 30 minutes into the future so that I don't have to listen to you anymore.
When you wake up, oh hey, you beat the game.
Yeah. Ending credits.
To the Pip Pip Parade. Sir?
Wrong answer. Sunny
Ow.
Star Scout, right? You're automatically signed up for the Wings Flight Academy.
Because booing is
You're listed as a
fun.
rookie winged pony and
Well,
have to begin your
pushing the
training.
switch to the limit.
I barely know how to fly.
Well, that's the point.
More
isn't
technically
it?
impressive than Mario
Does that
Odyssey.
make sense?
First, you have to test your skills on the ground with an obstacle course. Grab all the crystals in time if you want to. Are you
Ow.
ready to train your skills?
Oh boy. My frontal lobe's about to get to 99.95% grown, chat.
All right. I mean, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh yeah, that face definitely says mm-hmm, doesn't it?
Chat. That's an emote. That right there is an emote in like the Discord server.
Mm-hmm.
Oh hey, is this just kind of like run? Oh.
Running
Wait.
all the things.
Why is there no music here?
What do you mean? There is.
The same music.
I hear it.
It's always there.
Oh. Oh, it's just really quiet.
Normalization moment.
Well done, Cadet Star Scout.
Okay,
You
well.
got some moves after all.
Alright, well this won't do. Give me a second. What? What?
It's
Okay.
over.
Huh?
Never mind. It's
Huh?
over. It's over.
That's it.
Don't even bother.
Okay, cool.
It's done.
Yeah, I'm actually going deaf. I mean, I've been to enough wrestling shows. Oh, so I'm approaching.
Very realistic crying.
Oh, yeah. Tasty
Her mouth didn't
jank.
even open.
Everything is wrong.
Tasty, tasty
My
jank.
beautiful billboard has been destroyed. No pony will come to my show like this.
Outrage!
This feels like another Weed Shop moment.
Bay is not safe.
Who would do something?
Where the hell is
I
this
have
bling
pointed
bling
your
boy
mind.
looking guy?
Out there trying to ruin the event. We must find him. Or her.
I know a way to make you
Or
not deaf.
her.
Oh boy, Zach.
No pony can be left
I'm turning down
unsuspected.
my headset real quick for this one.
Some pony had to see it happen. I need you to
Commander
ask every
Firebrand.
last pony in this area.
You remember
I'll ask
Sprout
around.
from the movie.
I mean, he looks like Josh Scorcher. You're right.
Here's the antagonist.
Oh,
of the
wait,
movie.
wait. You know what? Welcome, Reprieve. I'm excited for gaming in the Clinton years.
One of the most graphically impressive titles ever to hit the Sony PlayStation.
You know what? It
Crash
gives
Bandicoot
me a
is
chance
challenging
to
must-have game.
quickly run an ad so I
It's
don't
time
need to
for a
wait.
90 seconds minute
The gameplay
Cheetos
is
break,
not as
my
good as
dudes.
Mario
Well, rolls on
64.
after this.
The
You know
level's
what?
art is vast or
I really wish it was one of the good
Crash's
ones,
levels are
Zach.
basically
You know
straight,
what?
although
I will
you
make
can
it one of the
move
good
anywhere
ones.
within the
Give me a
path of
second.
gameplay.
Where's Formula 1? 90 seconds minute. Let's kind of let this play in silence.
Psygnosis offers much the same experience with Formula One racing. In fact, the games are so similar that once again we question why this genre is so popular.
Why
We have
the
yet
genre
to
is
see
so
any
popular.
tracks that
Why?
blow us out of our chairs. No huge loops, no gigantic ramp launches, no driving through waterfalls, nothing imaginative. These games are supposed to be fun first and simulation second. Where's the creativity? Why not have a game where you have to find and drive to the hospital before your wife delivers her baby? Now that would be fun. Rather than compete against other racers, you'd have to avoid getting arrested by keeping below the speed limit, obeying the right-of-way laws, and not tailgating. Any foul up and the cops will pull you over.
Thank you for the
best
resub,
part
Zach.
is that you don't know how to get to your location. You have to read the road signs and hope you explore in the right direction. Anyway, Formula One has
And
nice
he just
colorful
moves
graphics
on.
and a large number of tracks.
As if
17
it's
to
a
be
normal
exact,
thing.
But it's still a jar, folks. A jar all the way.
What? No!
Om
away.
nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
And welcome back to Raw.
He just pitches his own game for half of that review.
Yeah.
It's like the most nonsensical thing, and then he moves on like he...
Yeah.
and he just moves on like he just didn't, like...
Anyway.
Yes, anyway.
Like he just didn't mention the most batshit insane thing of all time. Like it didn't just pitch the most batshit insane concept of all time. Why is there slowdown?
Saboteur has a long blue mane.
What? Oh. Of dirt, jar of dirt. I call it cup of dirt. Not the jar. Give me what I want, Twitch. I don't want Disney ads. I want Slim Jim ads and Infinite Well.
Can we? What is that pony under that bridge doing?
Oh, them?
What are they
They're
hammering?
fixing
They're hammering.
something.
Fixing what?
It's an inflatable hammer.
It's
With
the
an
wood.
inflatable hammer.
My sense of worth.
Oh my god! Wait! I have a great
The
clip.
hell?
Smoothies, fruity and yummy smoothies.
It's not Lyra Heartstrings with a hammer, is it?
Hope not.
Well,
Whoever did
Here
this
for the
has
town.
purple fur.
there's been times where I'm watching like a wrestling stream or a new Legacy stream and I actually get Slim Jim ads. LOL. Have you ever gotten Slim Jim ads when watching my wrestling streams, Dark Raven? Cool. So like alicorns in this universe are not really like how they are in like 4th generation, right?
There's lots of differences.
Okay.
Sunny's a weird special case, though.
This seems like some weird changes to like world building. It's a little
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah, it's given this like
is a unicorn.
This place is about as busy as my Animal Crossing town, and it's still, like, struggling to hit 30.
it's given this this thing from
This is a magical level of mid. No kidding.
A unicorn with
The suspect is Trixie. Listen, if Trixie was in this game, I would be rating it much higher. All right.
No, Izzy would never do anything like that.
We need wrestling's greatest heel.
I'm afraid I'll have to arrest her.
No, wait. I'll talk to her.
You better find her before I do.
What?
All right about that. I have to find her.
They really do just have like a DreamWorks face, though, chat. Just like a constant like bit of stank to him. A cab.
The factory is closed.
All cops are
It's
bronies.
under renovation.
Oh no.
I don't like that actually. Let's
no,
let's forget. You know what? Yeah. I don't like that. Let's forget I said that. Let's leave that there in the folder.
All cats are beautiful.
All cats are beautiful. Yes. Including Henry, who I need to put new like gifts in for whenever someone redeems Hell Monster.
Greatest. Well, some pony messed with Pip's billboard. Oh no! That's terrible. I have an idea. We can unicycle it. Yes, that will prove you didn't do it. I didn't do what? Nothing. What do we need? We need paint. Lots
I have a
of pink
great.
paint.
Oh my gosh.
Can you find some?
If I knew how to clip, it would be so over. You have to like go over the video player, and in the lower right, you'll see like a clapper icon, rather like a clapboard icon, and that's how you clip.
The one that looks like my cutie mark.
And the one that looks like the cutie mark that is covered by Phoenix's wing, but it is.
Oh yeah.
It is a clapper. It's a clap. Yes, a clapper. The fucking lamp.
Nothing beats a
cool, refreshing sip of water. See right behind you, the greenish pony looks like Lyra with the hammer. Dude, this one?
Again, but
God, it does though.
Wow.
I don't like that. Let's
I like how
retaliate by
they're,
forgetting about it.
doing it again.
What?
Just, hammering at nothing.
Yeah.
It's like that. Has anyone seen that,
Oh, hello. Were you looking for some paint?
Yes, I need lots of pink paint.
Can you do any fucking thing yourself, you fetch quest assholes?
It's
Yeah.
Maritime Bay Day. Money is not allowed.
Patchwork, I think
Bad
that
for business, but it does
I think
lift
this
the
is like the
spirit.
next hour or so, so strap in.
Well, I wanted to be a Pegasus guard when I grew up. Having a shop is great, but if I could only try on one of those cool guard helmets, maybe you could find one for me.
Pegasus guard helmet it is. I'll find one.
All
But yeah,
cops are
when like, have you ever seen that one music video, the funny reenactment of the music video though from like that song "Work From Home" by the girl pop group
Sweet.
Fifth Harmony? Like they went on Jimmy Kimmel Live once, and they just like they were around a tractor singing the song,
All right.
and
What
like
fabulous costume can I get for
they
you?
had like.
I'm looking for a guard
They
helmet.
had like
Guard
drills
helmet
and
is
hammers
such
and
a
stuff
good
as like
choice, yes.
props.
I do have
So,
one, but
While they were singing it, they were just kind of like, drilling random bits in the tractor and like hammering the wheels and stuff.
fabulous red flower. Deal. I'll get you one.
It was
Based.
funny.
That's
It was
how I
really
would
funny.
do construction work. What the fuck? Really though, can you not find anything yourself? Check out the dude with the sunglasses. Which one? Oh, the one I just spoke to. Some of these like they're Pegasi. They have like little pointy ends on their wings.
Mm.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. Pointy wings.
Why would you promote that, Hasbro?
Remember
Following
to
the
shave your
butterfly.
wings.
Oh, in the butterfly.
You need a red flower?
Remember to shave your wings.
I wish I could, but I traded my red flowers away.
Best form of
But I
construction,
do
putting
have
nails in
red flower
tires.
seeds planted in these
Is
pots.
that not how you do it?
Well, I could use magic to grow them. If
That must
you're
be why my insurance is through the roof.
More than okay. Please try it on these.
Okay.
Grow it.
About to say, do you need alicorn magic to like grow flowers around here? Here, take the flower.
gorgeous flower. Here, a brand new helmet, honey.
Don't call me that.
I'm liking this trading thing.
You and I do not know each other. Not on that.
Look at that helmet. Oh, let me try.
Here's
it
your
on.
cosplay, brother.
Doesn't it? For
Poor bat ponies. The best form of
Yeah.
it's
for
poor bat
Equestria.
ponies.
A trade is a trade. Here's the pink paint.
Perfect. We can fix the billboard now.
Man, that's fucked up. There. Need water. We are.
Sweet. Oh, thank you so much, Sunny.
Anything for Maritime Bay Day. I'll wait at the main melody. The crowd will flood in. Come, every pony. The show is about to start.
The feel of this game is like a mid area. It's a mid area between the Shrek 2 and Shrek the Third games for me.
Hello,
Because,
Mario.
like- oh, hello there. Hello there, Shoujo. How you doing? What is this? Well, look at the stream title. You'll figure it out. Because like you have like the weird presentation about it, and then you also just kind of have like the tanky movement. It's a weird vibe, chat. It's a very weird vibe
find out
indeed.
who
This
ruined my
is the game of all time. Exactly, Zach.
No.
What the hell was that?
I've never seen that animation glitch before.
She's got a Wii, dude.
She needs to pee.
She's got a P, yeah.
Someone clip it, please. Oh my god.
Sure. Where should
She's still doing it. She's still doing it.
She needs to pee. I've never seen that animation glitch before.
Sick, dude.
She needed an autism bounce.
Autism bounce. Yeah, exactly.
Excitement. She can't control her excitement about Maritime Bay Day. It's so exciting. It's so good. It's so good. So budget, I think it's funny because like $40.
Ta-da!
It's funny because I literally just bought Sonic Superstars for like $40.
It wasn't budget, it was rushed.
I mean, it can be both.
I mean, it might have been both. I don't know what the game's budget was.
It's you know what? You know what? I would imagine that it's not high. Hey, thank you very much for the resub, Heartfang. How you doing, my friend? Thank you very much for the 5 months of support. That's incredible. Oh, hey, I need to talk to this guy now.
Is that you, Primrose? Oh,
This was $40. Oh,
gone.
sure is.
It's you, Primrose. Yes, it's me.
Hello, Mario.
The show?
But why? Is something wrong?
It's just that I have nothing.
It's like when you go home to your high school reunion and then like you have like one person that knows you fondly and they just leave your memory.
I need 3 pieces.
It's just awkward.
3? Consider it done.
Bitch, I got this for free with PS Plus. Wait, was it like a free monthly PS Plus thing at one point?
Oh my god.
Oh, what?
Sony's falling off a fucking cliff, brother. They're giving this away for free? Listen, I just about spent $30 on this for the PS5 version, but then I told myself, Stev, what are you doing? What actually are you doing? Are you actually gonna, like, play this more than once? And I'm just like, No, and then I canceled my Amazon order and I bought the Switch version for $20.
Yeah.
$40 for a 3-hour game. It's not even 3 hours.
Not even 3, yeah.
No.
I'm about to beat this game and we're not even gonna like reach the 3-hour mark. Although, you know, given my speed, we just might. Honestly. Given my speed, we just might. Because, you know, baby game is hard for old Stev.
You're taking it more seriously than I did, so, you know, maybe.
I'm sitting over here like, we need the 700 bunnies. And I'm gonna do that for like every single one of these mini games, by the way, so.
HowLongToBeat.com says it's 2 hours for main story. If you're a completionist, it takes 2.5 hours.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Not even 3 hours!
That's crazy.
For completionists!
For a completionist run.
Game seems like something that could be fun for hardcore fans who just wants to play My Little Pony anything, and that's fine. I mean, y'all are fans of My
I
Little
guess
Pony.
they kind of up that in the end.
I'll get this to Colin. See, hey, play this, and then get back to me. Don't worry.
I spent
I'll be here
$40
when
to
you're
have
done.
it on my shelf.
You'll get so many compliments.
I got them all. Time
What
to
the
bring
hell?
them back to Primrose.
I'll be right here once you finish it, Colin. Don't worry.
Oh, you got them? Yes. Now you can perform at the show. But I can't. No, I can't. What? Why not? Because. What if he doesn't like these? He?
$40, you have to rethink a lot, lol.
Hitch.
I mean, I just bought Sonic Superstars for like $40, and I would say that's like much better than this. But,
Right.
you know, even then I would say that's still pushing it.
But Hitch isn't
I would say
in
like
fashion like that.
Superstars is like $30-ish.
Are you sure?
Although I'm a Sonic mark, so I spent 40.
Stuff like that. I thought I would impress him looking my best on the pony walk. But I'm too shy.
No, you're not. You're not
You
Fluttershy.
shouldn't be. You're perfect
Sorry,
just the way
Primrose. Hitch is
Really?
into
Yes.
stallions.
All you need to be is you. You could just walk up to him and say, hi. Oh, I don't know.
Honestly, when I was watching Ace play
I
this
feel
again,
much
I was
better
just
if
like,
I had an excuse to talk
I
to
genuinely thought Sonny was like,
casually have
"Ah,
smoothie to
well,
spare?"
Hitch isn't really into
be a good
stuff like
excuse?
that." Like when she said she's not into stuff like that, for some reason I thought she was going to say not into mares.
But my smoothie cart is in the shop. Where can I find a smoothie now?
What replay value is there on a 3-hour game? Wait, I can't complain. Wait, what? Dark
Okay,
Raven? What now?
speed running. It's good for
Speed
speed
running, sure.
running.
Right.
If you call the Sonic game, the first Sonic game I've ever played was the Sonic Collection Plus on the OG Xbox when I was a kid. I would say that's multiple first Sonic games because like you're getting a whole bunch there. So, yeah. Anyways.
That would be Sonic Mania. First and last.
My smoothie
First and last is not really your thing.
Yeah, I'm not much of a Sonic guy.
I am a big Sonic guy.
I respect it.
Sonic Mania is one of my favorite games of all time. So,
Oh no.
I mean, that's why I got it. It was like the highest rated Sonic game in recent years. I was like, I gotta.
Bring some pumpkins, I'll
Mhm.
make them for you.
turns out the reason it was is because it was just doing what was already good.
Right, yeah.
I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, that is what's happening. Hey, Sparky Ruffles? Yes, the chips.
Sparky Ruffles.
Sparky Ruffles. You're not a member of the Long Boy Club for life. Thank you very much. I hope you all are well. Hey, same to you, Heartfang. Seriously. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Is it Sonic Mania that 3D one or the one where you just go through the old levels? Well, Sonic Mania is like
All
neither of
levels.
those things. Like I put my nerd glasses on. Actually, Sonic Mania has 12 zones, and 4 of those zones are completely new ones that have never appeared in the series up until that point. So It's not 3D, and it's not just the old zones, okay?
Yeah.
Sparky got them ruffles. Thank you very much. My brain had a meltdown trying to describe the latter. I'm so old, I played Sonic 3 when it was pretty new. Loved it. Wait, like pretty new as in like when? Like did you play it like in 1994 when it came out? We'll also extend the game's length because generally when I play games, I half pay attention to things, really.
Right.
So a babby game may, it may be the end of me, chat. It may just be the end of me.
I got all the pumpkins.
It's already taken you a lot longer than it took me.
Having conversations and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's nice to be casual and all
Have a
that.
nice chill time.
I'm
Sonic
being,
games.
I'm interacting with chat. God.
I saw the smoothie truck parked nearby.
Oh wait, I thought. Wait, yeah, the smoothie truck.
One pumpkin spice smoothie coming right up.
Wow, Logan, the 5-year-olds that are buying this game, they would have gotten that already. I know. I fucking know.
Thank you so much.
That became too challenging for the long play. Genuinely.
No. Thank you for encouraging me to be myself. It's always the best.
What a great episode, chat.
And remember, he loves bunnies. Bunnies, yes. Can you take these clothes to Pip? She'll find a better use for them than me.
Oh my god.
She knows her fashion.
God, I got this game pinned down within the first 10 minutes, chat, eh? It's this for 2 hours.
Yep.
Enjoy it, kids. Maybe next stream you should play the Miraculous game. I don't really have an interest in playing any of those games in like those like that vein besides this, honestly. I know about Miraculous Ladybug.
Fabulous! Are you ready to dance?
Wait. We're about to do another frontal lobe development test, chat.
It's showtime, Philly.
Let's go.
There's no time to waste.
Okay. Quest this, quest that. Ha. Good lord. Giving kids a follow direction simulator with MLP paint. What the?
Maretime Bay Day edition. First, we have to dress up. Pick
Okay.
the most fabulous outfit from the menu. Press this button to put it on.
Pick the most fabulous one. It's this one, kids. This one right here. Put it on.
Press these
Look
buttons
at all the
on
options.
to see
All-
other accessories.
Okay, you
Press
can get
this
some.
button when you're ready
You
to
can get
glow
some
up.
semis.
If you got the money. Wait, I got a minute to pick my outfit? Okay, cool. I'm on the
Yeah,
Zoomer
there's-
drip. Here. Oh, yeah. This right here is peak depression. Let's do it. I did it. Let's say, can I please continue?
3, 2, 1, go!
Come on. We're gonna dance to something that's like actually gonna be audible, chat. Alright? If that's okay with all of you.
Well, if you get the... Oh my god.
Hey.
Good luck.
This is like just like what we do with Vtuber.
Why is it like kind of working though?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it almost like fun.
It's like when we do it with B-movie, you know, like sometimes it just works.
Yeah, I know. It's like Skyrim.
Oh.
This is fucking lame.
Yeah.
This is so fucking lame. This is too long. Yes.
It's going and going.
The fucking battle theme is looped like 4 times. Oh. Yeah!
There we go.
I danced the depression away. Wait.
Maxed out. Even
Wow, perfect first try.
Ah, let's fucking go. How long is this? That was so long.
That one would really suck to have to replay.
I was about to say. I think choosing a
Got that
different
shit.
song at that point.
True, true.
That was the king of mid right there. As one of my friends would say, cring with a hard G. Fuck.
I didn't know you had it in you. Neither did I. You were a good dance instructor. As token of appreciation, here you go. The Maretime Bay Day badge.
I didn't know you had it in you. Oh, what? Sorry, I had my I had my Game Boy in the whole time.
Look for magic mirrors. Use them with this button.
No, thank you. I'm done. I'm okay with that. Why would anyone want to play that again? Oh, wait. Oh, I can just put these on whenever.
This time without a time limit.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's a treat, you know.
I look like I've given up on all my aspirations.
I'm sorry, Sonny, but I can't let you in without the Maretime Bay Day badge.
I should have played Swerve Sleeve, you're right! That would have been fucking awesome!
Put the medal on.
You know what? If we play that again, remind me, okay?
That is the only reason people replay that game, so that they can have like different songs going to it.
Wait, hold on. Did he say I need some?
But I can't let you in without the Maretime Bay Day badge.
Why, like, let me, like, choose my clothes then?
And official. Find a magic mirror and put the medal on.
Why let me choose my clothes then if you want me to wear something specific?
Right.
I'm now slightly less depressed. I want to see a Fallout Equestria game.
Oh my god, yeah.
There's a few of those.
Yeah, about to say, yeah. I'm surprised there hasn't been a fan that made like a turn-based RPG based on Fallout Equestria. That feels like a gimme. That's just MTG now. More Babby game. What?
And here we are.
That guy looks like the nerd emote.
Are you okay?
Idea. An
So
MLPFIM RPG, but it plays like Persona. I mean, there is the tabletop game. You could just make it play like Persona. So,
Who would want to ruin Maretime Bay Day so bad?
Did I hear
me.
detective work? I love detecting. Got a solid
Hi, Rainbow
PR
Dash.
resume.
Shouldn't you be at the Flight University?
Eh. Every
Am I right, Chad? Is she like Rainbow Dash? I genuinely don't know.
Find those witnesses, which is way more fun. Ask around.
You know.
Some pony must have seen it happen.
Little bit.
I don't know. When I look at her, she's very Dash coded.
Just a little bit. She's definitely probably the most Dash-like character of
Someone
the
say
main characters.
sabotage.
She's pretty different.
Yeah, she's pretty different. Zip usually spends her time, like, doing detective stuff.
Oh.
Ta-da!
She's the same in that she's not big into girly things.
Yeah.
I see. Hello, Lily Lich. How are you doing? How are you doing, my friend? Okay, hold on.
Whoever did this is a Pegasus.
Get your face out of your phone.
Hello, Mario.
Let's see here. Stars. I want to get like a sweater, that way I can just go in maximum depresso mode. Here.
Sweet!
Why does that one look like a dude sitting on a toilet rarity? What now? Huh? Which one?
Huh?
Which one? Let's say we passed like 5 of them. By now.
Sitting on a toilet rarity?
Fluttershy, shadows
I
ahead.
No.
A short pink and
Okay, but
blue
like,
wing?
listen, chat. Out of the P5 characters, which one is which member of the main 6? Because Haru is 100% Fluttershy. I don't care what anyone says. Haru is 100% Fluttershy. Baby game is too hard for stuff. Was responding to idea MLP, but it plays like Persona. No, I know that, but like, I'm genuinely asking now. Not to say like the depth perception made it look like that was too far. The fuck? Is Rarity Panther? You know what?
The suspect has bright white
Yes.
fur. That's all the clues.
Makoto is definitely Twilight though. 100%. Rainbow Dash is Ryuji. Although Ryuji, I would say, is a lot more exaggerated
Description.
in Rainbow Dash's characteristics.
I wasn't even here.
Spike is more Teddy. Yeah, 100%. Mona's way too,
I'm afraid
Mona's
I'll have
way
to
too, snarky.
No, you won't. Sorry.
Criminal at large!
The
We
fuck?
have to prevent Maritime Bay from these attacks. I'll warn the citizens of the imminent danger.
Something doesn't
He's saying it like there's a fucking nuke incoming.
do any of this.
Chipmunk teeth hitch.
I guess I should get that billboard fixed.
Just a second. Okay, can I like transform back into my thing now?
Yeah.
What's this?
You unlocked a new cosmetic.
Incredible. I won't use it. I mean, just like Mona, Spike is also blunt. Well, yeah, but like,
Horns on hitch.
I don't know, Mona.
Yeah.
It's weird to say, but like
It's
Mona
a
doesn't
different-
seem as much like a punching bag.
Brand of blunt, I guess.
What do we need?
A bunch of yellow paint would be a good start.
All right, I'll get some.
I would say, you know what? Yeah, I would say that, Logos, because Mona's snarkiness usually isn't. It usually goes unpunished, I would say.
Right.
Whereas, like with Spike, there's always like a follow up. You know.
Right.
With Spike, there's always like a follow up. He's not allowed to win. Ow. Hold on. Starlight Glimmer or Trixie is Akechi. Definitely. Trixie is 100% Akechi.
Yellow paint?
But wait, what would
treat
that
you
make
some.
Joker?
Yeah. I'm making this fruit salad, but I need some ingredients.
What do you need?
Could you fetch me some apples and pears?
I
I'll go
literally
get them.
just met Akechi for the first time the other day.
Oh wait, are you playing Persona 5?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back into it now.
Oh yeah, dude, my fucking dog. Let's go.
I don't feel Trixie, but I don't know, maybe it changes.
I would say, yeah, just wait. Just wait.
I
Just-
literally just met
wait.
the guy.
And his dad is Starlight Glimmer. Pre-Reformation Starlight. Pre-Reformation Starlight.
Oh boy. Okay.
Sunset, or there's Sunset Shimmer as Joker. You know what? Sure. Sure, we take those. I need my pears.
Great. Now back to the paint shop.
Apples and pears.
Beautiful
There.
fruits. And
Get it?
now
It's almost
the
a
most
reference.
important one.
Yeah.
A big pumpkin to mix it all.
Oh!
A real big one.
Oh, I'm slow.
That went over your big long neck. Big tall head.
It's not hard. It's not hard. All the cosmetics in this game are so expensive. How long do they expect
Hello,
you to play this
Mario.
for? Hey, Fairy Gator, how you doing?
Hello.
Sonny, I'd give you my
Why do they
biggest
want pumpkins so much?
but it's still growing. Could you use your magic on it? Grow it big and it's all yours.
I got better things
Nothing
to be
beats a
spending my
cool,
magic
refreshing
on,
sip
woman.
of water.
Ta-da!
There, I grew it a little. Now, let me be.
Now you gotta go get it.
You gotta go get it, eh?
Phew! Great.
Oh.
Just a little bit more.
What the
Yeah.
Damn.
What the fuck? What?
Damn.
Huh?
Am I supposed to roll?
Oh, I gotta push it?
How am I supposed to roll this back? She says as she's rolling it
Pulling
back.
it back.
Literally currently rolling.
You literally cannot take it off the road?
No,
Ah, it's
take
on
it
a
off the road.
track. That's
it's on
boring.
a track.
You don't want to cause mayhem.
This game is so lame, dude. It's,
I want to play some
It is the
Katamari
pits.
Damacy. Come on.
Gracious.
you know what?
That's
I've
so
actually never
funky,
played
Philly.
Katamari. I would like to,
Thanks,
though.
guess.
I haven't either,
Here.
actually.
Earned it.
It's the
Take it
Great
away.
Pumpkin Giraffe stuff. Yeah, well, I'm not feeling too great.
Great. Back to the billboard.
Okay, but you know what? At least Sunny is. At least Sunny's feeling good. I'm gonna download Swerve's theme song during the next cutscene chat, and then we're gonna set it up and play it during the next dance thing. Because
Awesome.
with a game like this, I don't think that's the only
Your
one.
work of unicycling art.
Much better.
This game looks so boring playing by yourself.
Hello, Mario.
I'm feeling it. I mean, like, I got friends here, and, like, I'm just like, this is lame. This is lame. Oh, cripes, this game. Oh, cripes indeed, Ashley.
Yes.
The best thing around here is, like, just running around, like, with the giving up on life beanie. And even then, that, like, has a limited appeal. What is this? What's that? What are these? Thank you. We got NPCs for friends. No way, dude. Me too. Like, okay, can I... There you go. You know what, Phoenix? You're an expert, right?
I don't think I said that.
Great. So, pop in shadows, love it. What the f...
What? What?
Ah, this game. So crunchy.
I like how those stars went under the ground before they
Yeah,
they came to you.
that was some mad clipping right there.
Okay, chat. We gotta play an ad to appease Bezos.
It's time for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Raw rolls on after this. Barbie game? Babe. Babby game.
Barbie game?
Doing the impossible. Going over the long boy head. I mean, like, you know what? There's a ton of Barbie games. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're out there. So, also,
Yeah.
we're creeping up on 2 hours. I'm actually scared that we're gonna get to 3 hour mark.
At this rate, yeah, we probably will.
I will set a world record, the longest time it takes to beat this game. I'll put that on speedrun.com.
Hell yeah.
Nothing goes over the long boy head. His reflexes are too fast. He will catch them. Will I, though? Will I? I mean, you know what? I appreciate your faith. But we'll see about that. Long boy, more like slow boy. Ow. See, like I didn't dodge that. The heck is this? Alright. I agree, chat. I agree. So, Phoenix, back to my question, right?
Yeah, you just called me an expert and left it at that. I don't know.
Nom nom nom. Oh,
really
excuse
should've
me, we're
just left it
back,
at
my
that.
dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. So right, how many more dance things are in this game, or is that the only one?
That's it.
That's it?
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
That's it?
I heard of you.
You already knew
It
me.
only ever happens once.
Remember?
Important details, cadet. You're here for a review of your motor skills.
Ah, come on.
The advanced obstacle course.
This game is so uncool, chat.
I guess so.
I don't know what I'm ready for, but I'm gonna do whatever it is that that it told me to be ready for.
3,
Oh.
2, 1, go!
Play.
Let's see here. I'm gonna play chat. I love Sonic Generations. Just long enough to make it through one loop. And even then I paused the game for like 2 bars.
Flyer review after all. Here's your reward.
Hey, those are my rollerblades.
I mean,
I was looking for them.
Here's your reward. The rollerblades I stole off of you earlier.
Thanks.
I swear I heard that music before in other games. I mean, that is Sonic Unleashed slash Sonic Generations. So,
If you want to slow down, you can take them off with this button.
can't wait for the Sonic X Shadow shipping game. Listen, Zach. Neither can I, okay? What the fuck? Why is it like...
So much faster. Yeah.
Drak, this right here looks like, it looks like the Hag's Lair in Baldur's Gate 3.
happening with the animals. 3 crabs are crawled out of the beach all the way here.
Like,
Could
like
you
these
recommend
crabs
so I
are
can
just
keep
like an
an eye on them?
illusion for like those
Unlike how
troll
bunnies
guys
hop
that we
away from you,
defeated.
Crabs will
Oh,
follow
no.
you around instead. You need to avoid puddles of mud. Crabs love hiding in them.
Wait, do we have... Wait, do we have more buddy hurting? We got more buddy hurting, dude.
Yo!
Yo!
Avoid the mud, remember?
No.
We could get that music.
That wasn't so bad.
Yeah,
crabs
in
now.
terms of dancing, yeah, there's no more dancing. But
Why would
there's
you-
still more hurting, yes.
This game confuses me.
Oh,
That's what people crave.
Not only does this game bore me, it confuses me too. I thought that kids love dancing in their games. At least in like their horse games. Is there a cream you can use for those a cream? The crab rave cream. Chat, why are we talking about cream all of a sudden? I don't like that.
Why are we talking about cream?
I don't get it.
Why are we talking about cream, chat?
Awesome, Sonny. You are pretty good at this.
Hey, thank you for herding those crabs. Now go herd more bunnies. The cream of the crop. You know why. No, I don't. I don't know why, actually.
Classic. The more bunnies and crabs you herd into the goals.
Oh, I gotta do both.
Yep.
Cool.
Watch out for
I
those.
like herding bunnies, herd crabs too.
Are you ready for herding?
You know what? At least he's excited.
You know it's good when Steph does the goofy laugh.
What, that?
Goofy giggle, yes.
The fucking goofy
Steph
uncle
giggle.
laugh.
Yes.
Getting crabs is not a laughing matter. Just ask
No,
Carl
take
from
this
Aqua
seriously.
Teen.
Great! But there's no way you'll ever beat my record.
We shall see, buddy.
Is that a challenge?
Oh shit!
Oh boy, here we go.
Ooh, shit! I think it's a challenge.
Get your music ready.
2, 1, go!
Oh, but we gotta learn how to do the game again.
Yeah.
All right, chat. What are we playing this time?
I get that Twilight Princess go herding.
Yeah, that's right. Hold on.
You gotta.
Hold on. I do not have that on my soundboard, so we're gonna look it up first. Twilight Princess goat herding music. Yeah, brother. Here we go. Give me like a half-hour version, baby. Let's do it. Give me that half-hour version. Let it load up. Just sitting here being like, oh yeah, we're gonna do fucking Ponytown after this, and I just spend all this time doing bullshit like this.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't be a Giraffe Step stream if I didn't overpromise. Oh, fuck. Hold on.
Yes.
Oh god. This is fitting.
Quintessential herding music.
It was very nice of the game to, this actually base as hell. I like this.
Yeah.
Holy crap, they magnetize.
I love it.
They don't just suction in, they fucking magnetize to the goddamn gate. Spanish football yelling. Ah! I don't even know what sounds this is making. Wasting so much time.
Yeah, that freaking bunny didn't wanna do it.
No, he didn't want to do the job, brother.
Yeah. Sheesh.
I need to like just corral a bunch of them first. It appears the bunnies also like the mud. or gravel, it looks like. Really. I don't hear anything other than music blasting. There's supposed to be other sounds. Nope.
Big crabs.
Big crabs. Big crab. There is supposed to be no other music playing, brother. Holy shit.
There's so much.
There's so much.
Big crabs give time bonuses.
Oh, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
Ah! come on!
That was
no.
unfortunate.
What? Come on!
That was
The
some
game is
bullshit.
winning.
No!
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my
Ah,
god.
fuck you, buddy!
That one freaking bunny. Slippery little bastard.
Oh,
No!
that's so sad. That is so sad.
No! Oh, that's so upsetting. It's like the most fun I'm having in this game. What? Boo! Exactly. Boo. I'm gonna head out and spend time with the wife for the rest of the evening. Y'all enjoy the mid. Well, you all enjoy your wife. All right.
Enjoy your wife.
Have a good night, Patrick.
Okay.
What'd you say, Phoenix?
There's yet
Enjoy your
another
wife.
terrible threat.
Enjoy your wife. Yeah.
What is
Enjoy
it
her.
this time? Furious rabbits have gained up.
Wow.
That's the threat.
We all survived.
We found the threat. Oh my god. Oh my god. New threat. Ah.
Can
you go?
I'm really fucking glad that.
Brother, I got the high score in this game 400 days in a year, brother.
See about those bunnies.
Or maybe you didn't, dude.
Do you feel like hurting again?
I'm really glad that that Big Kev is experiencing slowdown. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was funny.
Hi, Henway. Hi, Henway.
Step on up and see.
We're gonna enjoy some more chat.
Around a long boy's neck, ladies and gentlemen. Step on up. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Hurry.
I don't love them. I just want to beat them to the best of their ability. Okay.
Completionist runs. Very important.
You're right. You're right, Joe. Only a sick fuck would do something like this.
You're crazy.
Listen, Phoenix.
Oh no, not again.
Why the fuck is it glitching?
Because the game is so slow. It's slowing Kev
God
down.
fucking damn it. I hate it, dude. I hate it so much.
Resident Evil 2 is definitely the devil of the game. It opens with
What are we
exquisite
doing anymore?
So many redeems.
violent full motion video. Make that very violent full motion video, complete with shots to the head and seizure-induced corpses. Resident Evil 2 has the same gameplay as the original. In that respect, the game's a disappointment.
Gitsy jump scare, and you know what? It's first scary game. The big return of Glitch Kev.
It's the suspense, the eerie music,
Oh, this is
the
beautiful.
awesome full motion video.
Oh,
We
what? Just
really
this
get
whole
annoyed
sequence
with
of
having to
events.
shoot a zombie 10 times
I love
before it's
how
actually dead.
as soon as
This
the
kind of
Kev stuff went
ridiculous
away, it was
crap
just
really
Resident
slowed
Evil.
down forces you suffer this unrealistic gimmick
Just
every time
no
we find a zombie.
context.
And that
I
happens a
don't
lot.
remember why
In
I'm here
fact,
anymore.
You usually find zombies hanging together in huge crowds.
I thought we were playing
making the
Pony
job
Game.
even more difficult.
Instead, we are
How
getting
Resident Evil 2 is. We
I'm
have
getting
stuff to
bombarded
share
by my
yet,
redeems.
but we haven't played the game
we're
alone in
getting
the dark.
Kev.
That's
We're
probably
getting
the best way to
Resident
play.
Evil. We're
We also
getting
we had
a
Formula
game that
1 earlier.
looks like My Little Pony, but I don't know. I heard a lot of Twilight Princess music.
Either.
So
Resident Evil 2 does a great job at capturing the
This is just
horror
a
mood like no other game
cheap
ever made.
knockoff.
The controls still have that watch where you're going, I overshot the doorway.
It's a
feel,
cheap
but by
it's a
now,
cheap
everyone's
ripoff of
used
Wind
to this
Waker.
style of control, so we're giving it a generous C. Everything else
Thing
is
My
an
Little
A.
Pony and Maritime
Resident Evil 2
Adventure
comes
got an
highly
upgrade.
recommended.
It did though. The adventure chat is that you run around and you run people's errands. That's the whole thing. If anything, it's a better life simulator than The Sims when you think about it. For like no more than 3 seconds. 444 kilobyte patch, probably. Listen, Resident Evil 2 has the same controls as this, right? It works. No. You know what? You're right. It does make me feel like I'm playing Resident Evil while playing this because playing as Sunny makes me feel like I'm in the military. It's just complete tank controls. Hold on. Anyways, what were we doing? Alright, I'm not gonna waste as much time here, ideally. Oh, well, it's nice of them to bring themselves over to me. Get over here. Just get over here. Are they just all like congregated? Wow. There's art. Wait, what is their artwork for?
Tony Mr. X. Tony Resident Evil? It's Equestria Girls, though.
Oh. You know what? That sounds really cute. I like that. Stop going into the hole. Enjoy when you grab them and then they just go immediately into the mud. Very, very cool. Get over here. Are you kidding me? Get in there. In there. I will not be defeated here. Doing the crabs first. It sounded really bad when I said it.
Doesn't do the crabs first.
I do the crabs. Yeah, exactly.
What the?
I'm not just a long boy. I'm also a liar.
Just do the crabs. Go. Do the crabs. You only need it a little bit. Okay, yeah. Go. Wait. Okay.
Wait. Did I get it? Did I get it? Yeah!
No.
Woo!
Nice.
Fantastic. Okay. I don't know. It's starting to lose a bit of diminishing returns. Yeah, exactly. I beat the crabs. I beat my crabs. If only the crabs were spy crabs. Yes. Town Park. That's an oxymoron. No. You gotta keep with that. You gotta keep with that.
Nothing beats it.
Refreshing sip of water. This fucking drip has me fucked up. This is some mean ass drip here. Also, is this meant to look like Twilight's thing? Here?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a Twilight fan.
President of the Twilight Fan Club.
Yep.
Where is the next? Wait. Where is the neck extension? You know, once upon a time, I did have something that like where if you redeemed it, you could stretch my neck out. But the thing is, my model is actually not long enough for that, which I know, blasphemous, but it's true. It's
what I'm hearing is Longboy needs to be even longer.
yeah, exactly. I need to expand. I need to become like my good old friend Donkey Kong and expand, you know?
Expand down.
Expand neck.
Zoom.
This is where I'm supposed to be, yes?
Oh boy.
Do you want help?
No, no, no,
Okay.
I don't want help. In fact, I do not.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I don't want the girth as well as length. Yes.
Oh.
You know what? With the third model revision, I'm gonna mandate to my model artist, no.
Maretime Bay.
If it isn't like,
There is no reason
if it isn't long enough to the point where it can't be feasibly tracked well, I don't want it.
You know what? I hope someone makes corruptions of this game because it would be funny as fuck.
We are
It would,
looking
though.
into the case, but
This whole game just feels like a corruption in some places.
is that the criminals are
I mean,
not
I've never seen the Sunny really needs a Wii corruption.
neither of them is a respectable.
Send those in Divine Sauce. We'll fucking show them off.
to be alarmed, but watch out at all.
I really need Vinny to see this. Oh, good heavens. Is Sprout going to make Equestria great again? Oh boy, brother.
no.
Not if I can help it. Holy shit, racism on Maine. I was about to say, he didn't stop being a fascist, eh?
What's happening?
Hey, Phoenix, it's you again.
What are they saying?
His name is Marcel, and
I like
he has
how
requests. He
this
says they
one-
hijacked the road
This
and
one
won't
sounds
budge
like
until they get what they
it
want.
was recorded on a phone.
My god, it does. You know what? Yeah, it just.
That was not a professional microphone. I'm sorry. There's no way.
Zach, this right here literally just sounds like the microphone that like Jonathan Coachman used to record his lines in SmackDown vs. Raw. It just sounds like he's recording in the McDonald's bathroom.
Coming right up.
When you forget that your lines are due tomorrow. But you don't you don't have your professional mic, so you just whip out your phone and send it as a Discord message.
My favorite part about the roller skates is that the butterfly doesn't keep up with you.
Yeah.
So like it just completely renders them pretty pointless, honestly. Those bunnies make me hungry for bunny-shaped bread. Dang it, now I need to bake. Bunny-shaped bread.
Extra fresh, huh? Of
Funny
course, but they are delicate. You'll have to deliver it fast, or it'll go to waste before you can say hoofness. Are you ready for it?
Let's go.
Ready for what? What? Huh?
3,
Gotta go fast.
1, go!
Play.
I just need. Listen, I need to keep this exciting for myself.
Of course.
I need to keep this exciting for myself. So fuck it, Metal Harbor. Let's do it. I can't even do it with the roller skates. I can't do it with the roller skates, chat. I'm getting stuck on the fucking people.
Yay!
What?
You're done.
Oh.
Damn.
Huh?
Another demand?
What?
Now he
This is a
What?
difficult one.
pair of cool shades?
What?
Shades?
I don't know what you expected.
Oh boy.
That's it. You done it.
Feel the
Game-
speed.
Oh, it's you again. You want a pair of sunglasses, huh? Easy.
I think it's time for a
Ruin your flower.
well-placed commercial break, chat.
Sure.
It's time for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Raw rolls on after this, I guess. You know what? I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. And what are we missing? Taking flowers? Sunglasses? That I just got? Taking them over to the bunny? Stop activating glitchy Big Kev.
He says he has one last request. 3 balloons? What for?
What the hell is that?
3 balloons. Yep.
I can't believe the jonkler hit the greedy. God fucking damn it! You know what this game reminds me of, chat? It reminds me of like the Disneyland video game on Connect. Because all you do in this is just go and fetch shit for other people.
You get to explore Maritime Bay, which fits 2 streets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
My fucking Animal Crossing town is bigger than this.
Yeah.
The factory is closed. It's under renovation.
My fascistic state Animal Crossing town is bigger than this shit.
Closed. It's under renovation.
Is it now?
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Why would you take me over here? If it was just gonna be like, nope, sorry. Wrong place.
You're not looking in the right place. That's why. Steph is completely sickened.
Yep.
I'm sickened by myself. Welcome back to Raw, chat. I'll tell you what, Monday Night Raw is looking a little different, ain't it, chat? The People's Republic of Stink. That is what this game's modus operandi is.
Only one left. Where have I seen this one before?
You passed the balloon. There we go.
Audio.
Is chat actually helping me with this? Chat. I need you to level with me, okay?
Steph, 24, trying his best at the My Little Pony game.
Am I a joke to you?
Yeah.
Am I a joke to you, chat?
Control play.
Am I just a fucking am I just a sideshow for you? Coming out here to parade my longness for all to see? When really that listen, it's all length, no break. The laugh track.
Oh dear.
Sideshow Stev. All I am is entertainment.
Sideshow Steph.
Hey, there you go. I don't need. What now? Go.
As long as you don't start murdering people.
Am I just?
I'll go take these to him.
Am I a joke to you, chat?
You're making it really hard to say no. Where are you going?
It didn't activate right away. Take your fucking balloons. Take your balloons. Bye. See ya.
Did he really just leave his friends behind?
Yeah. He fucking lifted off. He's out of here. He fucking died on his way back to his home planet.
You can always count on us, guys.
He really did pull a Poochie though, chat. He really did say, I have to go now, my planet needs me. Oh no. What are those glasses? I need to see how further in the drip we can get.
Welcome to Wings, Maritime Bay's famous flight school.
Some pony is excited.
This was all my mom's idea. Don't ask me to be ecstatic about it.
Well, apparently I'm a cadet now.
Steph took some Pepto, no longer sick. Dance, monkey, dance.
Thunder and Zoom for your last assignments. And we'll see if you can beat me in a real race.
I'm going pretty fast already. Can't back off now.
I can see their pores, chat.
I'll wait for you by the takeoff runway.
I'm so
Sev questions his Twitch career choices. No shit, dog. How much more in this game is there?
You're coming close enough to the end of it, but knowing you,
It's gonna take me the rest.
elongated quite a bit.
It's gonna take me the rest of the fucking day to do this. I lied, chat. There is no Ponytown raid.
For a lot later than it thought we'd be.
Is that playing Maritime Bay like Skyrim?
It is 4:20 a.m. for me right now.
Oh god. Right.
Wait, did you say Skyrim, chat?
Skyrim. Oh my god.
For God's sake.
So if you're going to 100% this game, right? Am I fuck? Am I fuck? I mean, I'm playing it like I am, aren't I?
Not much longer than just playing it.
I was about to say, like, I need to get something out of this. I spent 20 bucks on it.
You're so silly.
No, you. And you know I'm right.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. Your PFP is literally autism.
Can confirm.
You are the silliest of silly.
This is the final obstacle. One step closer to new
The
heights.
final obstacle, eh?
Are you ready to take the high-speed challenge?
Oh boy, aren't I?
Oh boy. Gotta go fast.
I'm ready, sir.
That's the spirit.
Supersonic Racing, let's go.
Here we go. Good job.
Ah, fuck. Give me those fucking jam emotes in chat.
Let's go.
Give me those jam emotes. Boo. I agree. No! No! Overruled!
Are you kidding me?
Overruled! Where is it?
Hey.
Aw.
Okay, now I'll play Gitsy.
That was funny.
Okay. You have earned Gitsy. Let's see which one we want to watch, chat. Nah, Shoujo was unhinged for that. He was, though! He was actually unhinged for that shit. Wait, no, we already did Resident Evil 2.
Like, it was actually just as the drop happened, like, just suddenly, boom, navigator.
How about fighting games? Of course, we have to begin with Acclaim's long-awaited WWF Attitude. While we have yet to review the N64 version,
Virtual
the
Boy?
PlayStation version did not live up to expectations.
Oh, what, and where
The
George
graphics are
Wood,
very
like
disappointing,
fucking puts the
especially during
Virtual Boy
entrances,
together like
but
he's
the
a rocket
character animations
scientist?
are well done. Some modes do not even have entrances. I wish more than 4 players could be in the
This
ring
game
at
sucks,
once.
by the way.
Special moves are not listed in
It's
the manual,
actually really
but
bad.
some are listed in the Create a Wrestler
For
section.
wrestling games.
Controls are okay, but the 400+ moves are not easy to
Triple H
remember
in tights is
and have
really
no
weird,
logical
chat.
connection to any particular buttons. For example, the Ass Kisser move
Up,
uses
up,
ups
yeah.
instead of downs. Still, you can't beat a game that offers this many options. We had a lot of fun creating 3 fat black ladies fighting 1 skinny white turd. You don't get to do that every day.
What the
Player 3 obviously can't win the match that way.
And then he doesn't come back. He ends it on that. That is the closing sentence of this review. And meanwhile, he gets his shit pushed in here. Why does he have Happy Black History Month?
Happy Black History Month.
That's fucking awesome.
That's beautiful.
Oh my god. It's still going. Stop. Stop. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Perfect.
I can't. I can't. Old school wrestling games were another world. It's definitely not No Mercy. I'll tell you that much. Why is the confetti popping in? And why is it like popping in like when I get close to it? And when I get far away from it, it like pops back in.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
George Wood, I am inevitable. I'm already sick. That caused me to have a coughing fit. Oh my god. You can only get that kind of comedy by following Giraffe's death.
Oh god.
You all should go and follow my
I think-
3 lovely co-hosts too, by the way. They're all
God,
fantastic.
thank you.
Aw.
And honestly, this would be boring as fuck if they weren't here.
I'm
God.
That's very unfortunate timing there to say that, because I'm realizing I really need to get to sleep because I have something going on in the morning, and I just realized that. I can't stick around till like midnight. What did I just see?
Steph's reaction when Logos has to go to bed.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
I refuse to elaborate.
What does that mean?
We're just gonna let it simmer.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you decide on that.
God fucking damn it.
Oh boy.
What the hell is that? And why is it there?
Yeah, go and follow my. Go ahead and follow my horse friends here. They're very cool. All 3 of them.
How can I know you won't protect your own, huh?
Being a Pegasus was not a crime last time I checked.
All Pegasi and unicorns are suspects, sir.
What's going on?
Are they?
Yeah.
The Pegasus guard.
I'm gonna heck it and hop off. It's nice being here though.
I see.
Thank you, Logos.
It's gonna be fun.
Good night, Logo.
Find the witnesses.
Good night, Logos.
Exactly.
Bye guys.
Sure, I'll ask around.
Chat, am I actually gonna have to like just do the Ponytown thing another time? Fuck.
You took so long. Logos had to go to bed sooner than he finished the game.
Chat, are we fine with doing that? Like, if I just have like a chill out stream and we like split it halfway between like Duolingo and fucking Ponytown, would that be okay?
And then their
No
wings fell
issue.
off.
Oh, my back.
Even the MC is tired of this shit. I know. Even the game is bored.
The game is bored of itself.
Phew!
Have a good night, Godzilla.
The pony
Goodbye.
had a purple mane.
Goodbye.
Phoenix, are you okay?
No.
Why not?
Phoenix is sick.
Because I'm sick.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. My god. I genuinely don't understand Phoenix. It was the most
I
absurd
like
thing.
being I like being the confusing friend.
It was the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
I love saying like the most out of pocket things ever.
Holy fucking shit, man. The most wildest clip of February right here. God, you're right though. You're actually correct on that.
Yeah, the exposing things about my friends.
Hello.
Pink fur this time. Got all the clues, but...
Bro, it's 11:30 p.m. for me. My god, it feels later though. It feels later.
4:30 for me.
Good
Oh my
detective
God.
work. Does it match any pony you know?
Maybe.
Hey, Henway.
Witness found these fake
Reprieve.
Oh, how could I? I mean,
But then,
criminal lose
but then we're back to
something like
this.
that. In any case, good detective
And his
work,
face
Sonny.
gets worse.
I'll confiscate those wings as proof.
Can someone bring Henry back, please?
Just in case.
Yeah, good idea. Keep it up. We are in danger.
Sprout seems to be hiding something.
There he is.
Hi, Henway. Thank you. I gotta go and find Pip. It's not little Pip.
No.
Just Pip.
Didn't you just password her?
I did, yeah. Hi, Henway. They just keep bringing him. Just keep on bringing him. This guy managed by subculture. They just keep redeeming him. He appears. Okay, I really do need more clips of Henry.
Why is every pony so irritable today? Ugh. Sprout thinks
They haven't seen him, obviously.
absurd. I'd never get my hooves dirty like that. That's a solid alibi, I suppose. Just
You
try
can't
not to call
stack
too much
them.
attention, okay?
There you go.
But that's what I like doing the most.
Y'all gotta take turns redeeming it. Ghost kitty. Henry is a cat of many talents.
Billboards to fix.
Alrighty. We're gonna need a bunch of paint then. That sign's huge.
Racism is mondo bogus, dude. You said it. God, I gotta go find more fucking paint for her. I gotta go and grab more paint for her. Just smoothie. They look like they're made of clay, glue, and pipe cleaners. Very apt.
You want some paint, huh? Sure thing. Bring me
But first, solve my maze.
it's yours.
I don't know, brother. This mayor seems super cool, dude.
Or maybe she doesn't, dude.
I'll find a floaty.
They are indeed made of glue. Good lord. Henry has such cute socks. He does, though.
Yeah.
He has such adorable socks. I love him very much. I will admit, chat, I have stopped paying attention a little bit. So,
Yeah, it shows.
so if it seems like I'm running around in circles, that's because I am. Why are there invisible
Yeah, there's
walls?
invisible walls.
Why
And
are
they're
there invisible
ridiculously
walls
high as
over
well.
over these small railings?
Like I've seen the debug of this game, and the invisible walls are ridiculous.
Have you seen my pet crab
No
around?
reason whatsoever.
Her name is Bat.
If I find her, can I have your floaty?
Oh, sure. I just got it in case I had to go in the water to find my baby.
Don't you worry.
Don't say that again. Don't you say that again.
Why?
I don't like him. He makes me feel unclean.
What?
Steph, how you feeling about the MLP G5 game?
It is evidently rotting his brain.
Yeah.
It's just...
Look at this Raph. There is not a single thought in that head right now.
Sweet.
I'm just like this, you know? He's becoming the target demo for it over time.
Yes.
My brain is fucking rotting at the seams. I just want this butterfly to lead me to everything so I can be done with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an expert at this. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, crab leading.
I'm a bona fide, I got a master's degree in crab leading.
Back. Thank you so much.
To find my baby. To find my baby game. He's becoming the target demo for it over time. That's not that unusual though. It really isn't, chat. It really isn't. Anyways, I need to go and like give it to this person.
That's a good one. Here's your
Sev, want to play this game one more? God, no. No. I'm fine there. I'm fine there, brother.
Just learn how to complete it in 16 minutes. Get on my level.
Yeah.
I actually kind of want to see like your speedrun of this.
Oh my god.
Just for shits and giggles.
Couldn't have done it without you, friend.
Oh, I've got the VOD up there. Hold
Baby,
on.
baby, yeah.
Let me pull it up.
We'll take a
I
look
still
at
have
this
saved.
after.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at it afterwards.
Yeah.
Sonny, that bunny gang has scattered around the
God, no, I actually can't take more fucking bunny herding, dude.
More hurting.
No more. No more. 8 hours of this game. No more.
Whoa. Oh my
Okay.
god, another Irish person is on the leaderboard. That's new.
No more. No more chat.
Small herds, little herds of buddies.
Okay, good. You're only gonna have like one dancing mini game, but like 5 fucking bunny herders. Okay. Remember to do your chores, kids. Especially if you live on a farm. My Little Pony, a maritime bunny adventure of mid. No lies detected. And bunnies sure mating like bunnies. I mean, we've seen enough of them, so.
There's swarms of them.
There's like a whole colony of them. There are more of them like in one pen than there are of ponies in this town.
Yeah. For real though, it's so empty.
Mission accomplished, cadet.
Remember when you started and you said it wouldn't be that bad? Yeah, now I'm like tired. Listen, I'm actually like sitting here, I'm beating this in one sitting. If I took a break right now and like just spent like 8 minutes, like just kind of stretching, maybe go and take up E, and maybe I'd be better, right? But like, I'm just like,
You could fall into the ocean.
I think it's physically impossible, dude. The invisible walls are too high. Steph regretting his financial decisions. I don't regret anything. You all fucking donated $170 to a fucking good cause, and this was one of the rewards. So, I don't regret any of it.
We both have to live with it.
We just have to live with the consequences to our actions, exactly. I'm not even gonna... I'm not gonna do that. I'm just beelining right now. I'm beelining this bullshit.
I no longer desire all the stars.
I no longer desire anything here.
Welcome to the final race. Blah blah blah.
Final race.
You won't be able to beat me anyway.
Even Zip is like mad to get this
Even
over
Zip...
with.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, credits, please. I think the old Barbie detective game would unironically be better than this game. Oh god, let me fall into the ocean. Actually, yes. We only desire the end.
You bet.
I desire to get up and, like, get some pizza. Make some wings, you know? Get a good stretch in. Steph, like, please no more. Just end it all. What the hell? What? Oh my god. If you want to get to the credits, then solve my maze.
We crave the sweet forever release.
You said it, homunculus. Chat, genuinely, are you hearing music
Wait,
right now?
where's the cool music?
Play.
Yeah, that's right. Where is the cool music?
Where is the cool music?
Hold on. No, we already did that. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh! What the heck? Okay. If a cool music doesn't want to be associated with it instead.
There is no light at the end of the tunnel. There is only the Lovecraftian nightmare that is me in the beyond. Seek not the end, for ye shall regret it.
Seb, I get the impression that you like Sonic. I like him a little bit.
A normal amount.
Very healthy amount. I consider myself a Sonic buck.
Twilight Sparkle Blue! Twilight Sparkle Blue! Nice.
Right.
Okay, good. Yeah, yes, a ghost alicorn. This is a ring getting mini game. Why not? That really is just like a why not scenario. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Step on up and see if you can throw a giant gold ring around a long boy's neck, ladies and gentlemen. Step on up. Come on. Let's go. Hurry.
The ring knocked her out. The ring knocked her off. So.
Who's that?
Pony overboard.
That's my.
Better.
Ow.
Magic failed for some reason.
Pegasi shouldn't even be in Maretime.
I'm sure a unicorn did it. They're dangerous.
Everything is going according to plan.
Finally, there's a fucking conflict in this game. Jesus.
He's going back to Main Street. I'll catch him.
Finally, there's something going on in this game. Let's say, did the game freeze?
Someone got a clip of the ring knocking Zip out from the sky.
I'm not gonna lie, I missed that entirely.
Magic didn't fail. A giant ring knocked her out.
Of course. Of course it's Sonic that did it.
There he went! I need to disperse the crowd somehow. If I could just call their attention all at once. I need to find higher ground.
I wonder. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, just in case you didn't know where
Hey.
higher ground was.
Hey, hey, pencil neck, it's over here. The quality dropped in that cutscene. It really did. It's like there were frame drops in the cutscene. How is that possible?
Pegasi, go home.
Unicorns are not welcome here.
Every pony.
You could hear that doubled over.
Yeah.
Did you see it this is not who you are? Pegasi and unicorns. They have the same hooves and hearts and dreams as you. They're not strangers. They're our neighbors and friends. Together, Pegasi, unicorns, and
Nearly 3 hours in and something happens. 3?
I do like magic.
Yeah.
I do like magic.
They're so easily. These are not
God,
ponies, they're sheep.
God, they're like children.
Oh, well, I do like magic. Racism solved.
Oh my God, Chet.
Congratulations, Sonny, you solved racism. Because, ooh, I like magic.
Chet, if you place Sunny and Cody Rhodes next to each other, you wouldn't be able to like tell the difference, you know? Because both of them solved racism together. True. Only my wrestling friends will get that. Man, they're even worse than G4.
It's time for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Damn it, Raw rolls on into this.
We just have to catch Sprout, and he'll explain it to every pony.
But we can't fly in without
You
magic.
did it, Sonny. Racism is no more. Racism is no more. Poor Zip got hit with. Thank you, Feather.
This is not right. We need to fix this.
We have to do something, but how can we get past the gate?
I'll look around. There might be something.
Right, Bootans. More easily swayed than a Chicago crowd. This music, if there is so quiet. There ain't no music here. Wait, they mentioned cancer a lot.
Doctor Who ass.
I don't like breaking the law, but if you found a way to jump that fence...
I don't like breaking the law, but I am ready to become a felon. I know magic doesn't work, but have you tried?
Sheriff. I will make an exception for you because you're my friend. That's what friendship is all about. Letting your friends do crimes.
Hell yeah, brother. See now, you and I, we're on the same wavelength.
If I took this ramp really fast, the roller.
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Why were the rollerblades louder than the thing that came before it?
Yep.
This game is incredible.
What are we having for the what tune do we want now?
Are we about to have a boss fight?
1, go!
What?
Jump with this button.
What?
If you can.
Ah, that's some quality. Okay, chat, what we having? You know what? I'm making the decision for us. We're doing Persona 4. Trying to make history, chat. Alright, we got dodge obstacles in a straight line, eh? I don't really care. What the? What?
Watch out yourself!
Oh. Okay. What the fuck? Okay.
Fucking drops are funny.
God, they are, aren't they? Okay. So we're gonna have a thing and where like all the characters come in and they're gonna be like, alright, I'm gonna help you out. Oh boy, aren't we just? All right, a little bit of actual challenge here. Damn.
I like how Pip and Zip did absolutely nothing.
No, I know they did like nothing. Forgot to code it in.
Yeah.
That kind of feels like a little kind of... That feels like a screenshot that you take and then put text over both the characters. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna save that and do it later.
Yeah.
This town is more
Oh my
easy to
God,
sway the
look at
Republican
Look at the
National
lighting issue on her rollerblades.
Blink, blink.
Blink, blink, blink.
You got like
Oh, the neck
multiple
as
things
well.
going on here. Really?
Yeah. Oh my God, the rollerblades one is like that's the most jarring one.
The
He's got
rollerblades,
blinkers.
the neck,
yeah.
which is the most
Yeah.
egregious part. The dithering
I'd
on the
say-
bottom left eye.
Oh
She's
my
twitching.
God, yeah, that. Yeah, she's like, please fucking finish this game. I cannot take it anymore.
Please just press B already. Why is the shadow blinking on and off on her leg? Why anything?
Oh my God.
Why is the cutscene skipping frames?
Whoosh.
Okay. We are not going to hurt you.
You're not?
No.
And this is a long stretch of pathway. Yeah, exactly. Where you can't move the analog stick at all.
Last
2 more hours, 2 more hours, 2 more hours. Shove it up your ass. No, I'm kidding.
everywhere. I just
Sprout, change is hard. I'm normally not fond of things I can't control either.
I'm just a raging
Sometimes
bigot.
change is a good thing, and it brings the best out of
No
us
big deal.
if we open our hearts to it.
Zip, your wings.
Magic is coming back.
Some changes are great, like a little touch of makeup.
Or glitter.
Or like making a new friend.
I guess I was being a little
This feels like an abridged version of the movie plot.
So
Yeah.
you're not mad at me?
Buddy,
It took like
back in
it
Maretime
took
Bay.
5/6 of the game for like there to be any conflict, but here we go.
I have an idea that could cheer you up.
No. No.
Let's dance!
Wait, hold on. Do we need
Nope, that's it.
End credits.
You know what? No, hold on. You know what, chat? I'm taking the opportunity. Mac, are you still here? I'm gonna give you what you want. I'm gonna give you what you fucking want. It makes zero sense how this game did a better job with Sprat's character than the movie. Fuck it. We're doing Big Pressure. Well, that game was certainly an experience.
And they never did anything with him ever again.
Never. That one's for you, Mech. Wait, Mech isn't even here. Whatever. I swerve when I drive, chat. Wait. It's compulsory at this point, chat. I need to do
There
it.
was a QA team.
What?
There was a QA team.
I hope they got paid. It's baloney. Good lord, ain't it just? QA is a pretty ignored division. Oh, ain't it just? How long is this? How long is this credits? Oh, it's over. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Holy
You
shit.
can continue exploring Maretime Bay all you want.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Game clear. It's finally fucking over. And I only did it in 2 hours, actually. I actually did it in like 2 hours. A little over that. You know what? I'm happy for myself. I beat the baby game and I did it with flying colors.
Yeah. Perfected all the mini games.
Yeah, exactly. I got the best thing in all the mini games. Now, where's my cookie, Mom? You promised there'd be one after this. A 2.5. Hell ye. I'm not gonna lie, chat. That wore me out a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
Have this funny clip from when Ace played it a few days ago.
Yeah. Alright, we'll check it out. Wait. Did you like DM it, or are you gonna like?
Oh no, I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it.
Can I like?
Or do you
Can I
want
have a
the-
link that way I can share it with the stream? Or
Sure.
oh boy, what is this? Whoever smelt it dealt it.
You didn't do it.
I didn't do what?
Nothing. What do we need?
What?
That will prove you didn't do it.
Oh.
I didn't do what?
What do we need?
Amazing timing.
Okay. Okay, cool. See the most glorious speed run ever. You know what? Oh wait. I didn't even share it. Give me a second.
That will prove you didn't do it.
I didn't do what?
Nothing. What do we need?
She looks so nervous after. She's like, nothing, nothing.
That's like legitimately better than anything here. Well, like I said, chat, I played it. I'm never playing this again. I've done my time. I've done the crime, and now I am free to live my life. But no, seriously. Thank you all again for fucking donating during Hope Miss. Again, 170, that's fucking huge. And y'all should still be proud of yourselves, even after 2 months. So, yeah, thank you all. I didn't fart, no proof. Wait, is this a different clip?
It's like a longer version of the same.
Okay, there's
clip,
some
really.
nice animations on
Hi,
Tron animation.
Henway. Thank you for suffering for our sakes. I wasn't really suffering. I was just like, man.
Some pony messed with Pip's billboard.
You typed out a cab too?
Yeah.
I have an idea. We can unicycle it.
That's a unicycle.
That will prove you didn't do it.
Okay, there's some nice.
You know what? I think it cuts off really well there. I think it cuts off quite nicely there. Oh boy. Stev suffered for our sins. Thank you so much, Stev. Thank you. Thank you for fucking sticking around here. For over 3 hours. That was fucking massive of all of you. And I'm thinking that we're good to cut this one a little short, honestly. I'm thinking we're good to cut this a little short. We'll do a Ponytown thing next time when we're a little bit more amped, I suppose. Who we rating, chat? Let's see who's live right now.
The baby game doesn't win.
When the baby game doesn't win. Ugh. You know, given how we have a predominantly horse chat here, we'll go ahead and rain to Skylar. They're playing Fallout 76 right now. I've not played Fallout 76 in like ever since it came out. I was one of the unfortunate souls that played it on launch.
Yeah.
And I've not played it since. But I've heard it's good. I've heard it's gotten much better. But yeah. Again, thank you all for watching. If you haven't done so already, I would appreciate y'all following. Maybe join the fucking server as well. We are going to be watching My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 5, episodes 14 through 20, I believe, tomorrow night at around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go and fucking join. And fucking join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. We have a lot of fun during those nights. We're going to have a lot more fun doing that than we did during this. I promise. I promise. And thank you, again, to my lovely co-hosts, Phoenix, Logos, who is eeping right now, and Drak. Y'all have been fantastic. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on making this really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Did I really?
Yes, all of your little bullshit things in between. It was so entertaining, honestly. It's really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, you think I would
try my
willingly
best
watch
to
this
make.
again?
I try my best to make chicken salad out of chicken shit when I need to. So, Steph, you made this really fun. Well, thank you. Thank you.
You did.
I'm happy that I was able to make this fun for all of you, even if the game itself wasn't very fun. We're just trying to make the best out of what we fucking can.
Serotonin, please.
Steph makes almost anything fun to watch, although he'll never admit it. You're right, I won't. I'll really admit it. I make things fucking fun, and I work really fucking hard to do it. So, so y'all should follow.
Yes, you should.
And you all should follow Phoenix if you haven't done so already, and Logos, and also Drak. Even though I know he doesn't stream, y'all should follow him because he's based as fuck.
So he says he doesn't. I've never letting this go.
Oh no, my secret streams now.
Serotonin, please.
Oh, serotonin. Thank you. We'll raid out to our lovely Skylar over here, who's according to my preview, blinded by the fucking lights of Fallout 76 here. But yes, follow, join the fucking Discord. Check out all my other stuff in the card a section up there. I have a Twitter, I have a YouTube, I have a TikTok. Everything is Drafistev. I actually have a new video going up tomorrow night. Actually, I have a new video going out tomorrow night. It's all about the life and times of the villainous Typhoon, the Hurricane's alter ego. And we had a lot of fun there, and you will have fun watching that video. I guarantee it. So yeah. Ooh, see ya. Bye.